Hello, everybody. It is Friday night, and we all know what that means: sports on TV in a bar someplace. But if that's not your thing, there's also heavy metallurgy to watch. I am one of your two hosts, Alan, and over here next to me is the best co-host in the business, Marty. Marty, how are you doing this fine Friday?
Not true, but I'm okay. Doing good. Good to see everybody. Good to see you, Alan. Good to see our guest who we haven't seen in a while, but we'll get to him in just a minute.
We will.
Anything new happening in your neck of the woods?
Not a whole lot. It's been just kind of low-key busy week. Nothing big, just lots of little stuff to do. I've been dealing with like the summer hay fever or head cold kind of thing, which nothing major, but it slows you down just enough that getting little things done becomes a bit of a drag. You know, the weather's back and forth between hot and humid and hot and pouring buckets. So everything's constantly just, humid and damp and that. But, overall, can't really complain. Let's see. Now, Marty, you sent out some Bindrune updates today. Anything you want to make the audience aware of as folks are filling in? And good to see everybody in the chat here.
We got a couple new releases coming up. We just signed a band, a one-person project called I Slept on the Moon. That's going to be coming really soon. New Canis Dearest is going to be coming soon. We're going to announce that next week. And on the subject of mortality, reissue from Panopticon is coming as well. So there's stuff coming. There'll be more info as we get there. But we should probably
for all of that.
Yeah. Should probably get into the new releases for today, which is, what is the date? I don't even remember. The 26th of July.
Yes, Friday, July 26th, and there's a bunch of them. It seems like bands and labels have definitely kind of put things off in the recent weeks. I'm not sure if folks are trying to schedule things to align with fall tours or what, but yes, everybody grab your wallets because this is going to take a moment. Marty, take it away, please.
All right. First up, we have Category 7, self-titled on Metal Blade. We got an interview, Alan did a review for that. It'll be coming up maybe this weekend. Death Racer, From Gravel to Grave, from Dying Victims, which is another one that's coming up that Alan has reviewed, I think. Did you do that one too?
Yep, I have.
Dream Evil, Metal Gods, it says self-released. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm going to be covering that briefly in a review I have coming up. Ghost, Right Here, Right Now, the original motion picture soundtrack on Loma Vista. Harvest Man, Triptych Part 2 on Neurot. Imperia, Dark Paradise on Massacre. Iron Flame, our friend Andrew and crew. Kingdom Torn Asunder on High Roller. Laceration, I Erode on $20 Spin. Mean Mistreater, Razorwire, Dying Victims, another one I think that Alan has covered. Coming up soon. Powerwolf, Wake Up the Wicked on Napalm. Sacramonte, Retrieval on TP. Soulbound, Obsidian on Metalville. Summoning the Lich, Under the Reviled Throne on Prosthetic. Verney, Dreadful Company on M Theory. That's D.D. Verney from Overkill's pseudo-punk thing. Wormwitch, self-titled on Profound Lore. And I think I missed something too, Alan. What did you have that you wanted to add to that?
Let's see. We've got Mayhemic, Toba on Sepulchral Voice Productions is also on the list. Demon Spell has their debut EP out on Dying Victims Productions. Scald, the Russian epic doom band is back with a full length for the first time in like 27 years. That's out on High Roller today. So, the list just kind of keeps going. A lot of things stacked up, and there's also, a lot of anticipated releases coming in the next couple of months. So, you're welcome, and we're sorry. Just shake down the couch cushions for those quarters. Do some extra chores, whatever it takes. But you may have to do some picking and choosing on what to prioritize with so many things coming out at once. But let's see. With all the news covered, it's high time we got one of our favorite guests out here, don't you think?
Absolutely. Speaking of new releases, I think next month, brand new Deceased album is coming. 39
August
years
30th.
Going. Yep. 39 years in the grave, and 8th album. Let's get him on here. Kingsley Fowley, good to see you, sir.
Hey!
Welcome back.
I was out here in the cushions looking for change to buy some albums.
That's good advice.
Good advice.
Hey, it's great to be back here, man. I miss you guys, man. Really did.
Oh, it's great to have you back. Thank you so much for reaching out and letting us know you were available tonight. We would definitely make sure to make that happen.
Absolutely. It's great to see you. Wondering how things have been going, and a nice little promo landed in our inbox here that I gotta say, I'm gonna kiss your ass a little bit here. I think the new Deceased album, Children of the Morgue, what an album. Seriously. It's right up there. It's right up there with maybe your best. And what do you think? How does it rank in King Fowley's mind?
I'm fucking really proud of it. I'm proud of the band. I'm proud of how much we still got to deliver between everybody's playing and writing and the ideas. We're still doing exactly what we want to do. I love the production this time around. You know, I produced a lot of it. We got a really good mix. We got less in the mix, more so. He played more bass lines than ever before. Amos, our new drummer that took the place of Dave, who passed away, kicked ass on it, man, played his ass off. Shane kicked ass. Everybody did it. You know, there's a lot of long time, like just feeling in our hearts. You know, we've been doing this a long time. I'm 56 now. You know, I was 55 last time I came on here, so I'm aging quicker or something. But,
happy birthday. Happy belated.
That's fine. Thank you. But look, I'm very proud of the record. It was a hell of a record to put together in good ways and bad ways. I mean, being that it's basically a concept on dying and things around it, you know, it was a lot of ugly, freaky stuff that I went through intentionally to make it happen. Now, I know I've been sick and everybody knows I've had strokes and blood clots and all that, but this time around, kind of about halfway through, us writing the music last year, I lost my stepfather, who was basically my father since 1975. He lived with me and my wife here at our house, and he passed away. You know, he got sick with cancer quick and took him out. Now, we all know that happens, that we know someone, if not in our own family, immediate friends, et cetera, that happens to. But then I needed to go exploring all of this stuff, from watching documentaries on 5-year-old children dying of brain cancer to watching documentaries on families losing people like I did my stepfather, to watching just what people think about dying, things like documentaries like How to Die in Oregon, people that are sick and they know they're going to die. They don't want to stick around and be an inconvenience to their family, you know, or be disrespected, be shitting themselves, and, you know, pores opening up and whatever comes out of us coming out of them. Yep. So I went through a lot of that for inspiration. I don't know if I want to call it inspiration, but that's what it's got to be, because this record is positively, without doubt, the most downbeat Deceased record we've ever had, from start to finish. There's no happiness. And in my mind, and this is an open subject, you know, away from this or whatever. In my mind, when we die, we close our eyes and that's it. We don't see the ones we love. We don't get to go back to our moms and dads and everything's fine in the end. I don't see that. I think the energy turns off. I hope I'm fucking wrong.
We all do. I'm kind of with you, but I agree with you. I hope we're wrong.
I'm fucking wrong. I'm not happy about it. But, you know, in the title track, Children of the Morgue, one of the lines is, with life, there is no reward. You live it, you die, they move on. And it's a conveyor belt. It's a conveyor belt. And within songs in there, like, for example, Fed to Mother Earth. Mother Earth and nature are not our friend. They're here to see you gone. They're here to see you gone. They're here to be the top of the chain, and everything below it is below it. Mm-hmm. And it should be that way in a certain way, but there's just there's besides what we have for each other, we lose our mother, we're torn apart. We lose our father, we're torn apart. We lose our children, we lose our wife, our husband, our significant other. That's the love we have. But when we it's the end. It starts over, and it's just a repeating cycle. And for me, when I say death metal from the grave, that's what I'm talking about. I've did my days of grave robbing and end of the world and zombies and all that. These last few records, this one's just start to finish that. It's pretty crazy, intense shit. So I had a guy ask the other day, how does that sit in your mind? It's ugly. I lost my father when I was 5 years old to cancer at 27. Yep. My mother died basically on a whim. I never even got to say goodbye to her. My son's mother died in her 30s of a tumor. So that all sits in your brain. It all comes out of you. It's like when I wrote my book a few years ago. All that I live in, I could feel it. I'd feel high when I was talking about the drug days. I'd feel drunk when I was talking about that. I'd feel whatever. So a lot of that. But getting on to cheerful things, basically the bottom line, everybody kicked ass. There's thrash, there's speed, there's melody, there's weird, there's creepy, there's tales in there. I think it's got a lot of darkness to it in general, just a morbid, genuine record from Deceased. So I'm very, very, very proud of the band.
I have to compliment you on the fact that listening to this album, one thing I take away from it is how utterly epic it is. The Mike and Shane's guitar harmonies on here are some of the best that, I mean, it goes without saying, you know, you're going to get that in every Deceased record, but just for something about it here, I don't know if it's the production, there's more atmosphere, it's more soaring melody lines, and I got to wonder, you know, death metal from the grave, it's a tagline that's worked for you guys for almost 40 years. But really, there are moments of death metal on here, but this album in particular feels a lot less like a death metal record. It just feels like an epic heavy metal record to me.
Yeah, but what is death metal to you? Does it have to be tuned down, girl? Because to me,
I think that's
never been death metal to me. That's as old as it is now. It's still different from that. When I was growing up, I tell this story about every third episode where I'm on. Sir Thungol was death metal. You see what I'm saying? I remember when Metal Church's album came out and Shades magazine was calling them death metal because it had a lot of songs about dying and death and darkness and whatever's beyond kind of stuff to it. So when you're saying it, I get what you're saying. I'd like to think it's a little bit of heavy metal, death metal. I mean, I hear moments of hard rock. I hear little bits of punk's interludes.
There's a little doom on the one song. I wrote it down. I don't have it in front of me right at the moment, but kind of a slower doomy crawl feel to it.
You're talking about the Gravedigger.
The Gravedigger. Yeah.
That's the slower one. That's a good track.
Yep.
The Gravedigger's the one tune out of all the tracks. That's the one tune where it sort of breaks the fourth wall kind of thing, because the record's talking about death and things and people in it, and from a man's interlude between tunes to something. I could be the guy. Sometimes I'm the guy. Sometimes I'm the guy in the coffin. Sometimes I'm the guy looking at the guy in the coffin in my lyrics. This tune here has to deal with a guy who's in mourning, and all he does is have this repeated nightmare about digging his best friend's, his loved one's funeral night after night. He becomes the gravedigger, and he ends up at this crazy funeral where all this shit goes down and things go wrong. And that song was very influenced in our minds right from the get-go from Venom. It was a big, like Seven Gates of Hell Venom type of thing. It was the one when we wanted to slow it down and go nuts. We don't do that too often. I mean, Ellie's Dementia might be one. Parts of Mrs. Allardyce were like that. But it's the one where I kind of did that. It was fictional to a degree, but I could see somebody, and I'm sure it's happened zillions of times, people having nightmares about loved ones after they've passed, etc. So that was the one.
Right. Well, Deceased has never been a band that followed the norms. I mean, even Look of the Corpse, it didn't sound like all the death metal that was coming out at the time, but like a good old timer death metal band, you had your own sound. And that sound today, though it's gotten more majestic, more epic, it still maintains elements from the past, and it's branching into new, more soaring vibes, which seriously, I was.
I'm glad you liked it. I appreciate it. We really had a good time making it, and we're ready to keep on making more, man.
I really got to say that the two I have to, Children of the Morgue and Terrornaut. I'm back and forth on those two songs. Which is the best?
That's back to back too.
They're back to back. I'm like, both of these songs they rank up there in quality. Maybe some of the best material you guys have written. Seriously. I mean, is it Mike coming up with all this stuff?
Mike writes about 90%. I would say of this record, if I was to break it down, there's two riffs on that are mine. One on the first song and one on the last song that are actually my guitar riffs. Shane did a bunch. Probably Shane did about 8 or 9, and the rest is Mike. And then what we'll do is we'll go in the room, we'll get it down. Mike puts it down. He'll have a way to do it. And what we've always said with me and Mike is he'll give it to me, and I'll arrange it, change it up, and make things. Like, for example, I'll just give you the example. We love the opening riff to Children of the Morgue.
Oh, yeah.
We called that the bullfighting riff. We were like, that's like a bullfighter's riff. And Mike's like, okay. And we just kept it. It was so catchy, but it was in the middle. And then when we were done, we were like, well, what do we want to come in breaking into this album with? I said, you got to come in with that riff. I said, it's instant. It's just an instant riff. It's like when we did the Premonition, it was just instantly catchy. And I said, and he's like, oh yeah, of course we got to go with that. And I'm like, that's it. But yeah, Mike, for me, Mike Smith's the best heavy metal riff writer there is. That's my favorite guy. I love writing with him. Shane kicks ass. Shane has learned as we go along, and he's taken things. A lot of Brooding Lament is Shane. Some of my favorite melodies on the record, Shane did. So they're both contributing. You know, I'm writing the drums to it. Les's bass lines and Amos's fucking drums. He's dead on. I mean, there's I don't find anything without sounding conceited. I don't find any lack of anybody doing their thing. I'm proud to say at 55, then I think the vocals are stronger than ever. I don't feel like I'm breaking up or it's like you got to trick them. You got to do this twice. I don't feel like that. I really feel like it's there still.
The vocals
that makes
too.
me happy just because being an older guy these days.
Yeah. And I gotta say the vocals are great. And one thing I've always liked is, especially in your conceptual records, you have a lot to say. You're kind of like the John Arch of death metal. You got a lot of words crammed in there.
Down and do push-ups on the floor real quick.
But on this record, it's like you realize the majestic and the epic riffs that were going on. There's a lot of times where you step back and you let the music unfold, which
I'm glad you caught that, man, because I told those guys it's a lot more music driven this time around on purpose, because like you were saying earlier, you don't know what the difference is and what makes this one different. We really wanted those emotions to be able to come out, and I really feel like people, if they really dig into the lyrics, they really get lost in the concept, they could really get either, I don't want to say juiced up by it, but they could maybe get downed by the record in a way.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it doom metal because it's far from that, but it's definitely a depressing thing if everything that I think is how it really is. How you really go to Nevermore, which is nothing. And I use the word in there as the end is nothing. And there's no word for nothing except nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. One thing I noticed with it, King, is y'all have more longer songs on this album than you've had in a long time. There's 4 that go over the 7-minute mark. Was that just because you had so much material you wanted to pack in, or did it just kind of come out naturally and that's how the songs just turned out to needing to be that long?
I think it's just however they feel right, you know. I know, like at the end, this record was actually written in the order the songs play too on the record. We actually wrote them just like they ended up, and that doesn't happen except it.
How does that happen? That's bullshit. Come on.
It's the first time.
Wow.
Fearless, it almost happened. We mixed it up. Probably by the time we got to the Psychic, we jumped something before it, but it really did happen like that. And by getting to the end, Brooding Lament, I told the guys, I said, I want something in the 4.5 minute range here for this. Let's see what we can do. But if it doesn't feel done, see, I'm one of the guys that loves the long Maiden songs. So I got, I was talking to Alan, but no Josh Greer. He's like the Maiden songs, you got to get in there and edit those things 6 minutes out. And I said, look, I'll agree with you. Some of the bass solos are too long, and sometimes the choruses go on too long. But for me, when you get into this vibe and there's this riff, it has to feel right to come out of it. And that's probably why they're like they are, Alan, like, some of that stuff. I don't like to play a riff to death and just, it's not like it has to go, one riff has to go even 16 measures. You probably won't find that on many deceased songs ever. But we like to put a lot in there. And if it's a variation of something that seems similar, that's okay for us as players. But I'm really proud to say I don't think the songs are in any way drag or boring, and that's important to me as the arranger.
Yeah. No, they don't. Then that's impressive. That given their length, they could, but no, y'all have always done a good job of keeping the songs moving and adding different parts. But it always transitions, very cleanly too. The songs never feel jerky. It never feels like you're suddenly jumping from one thing to another. So y'all can pull off those 6, 7, 8 minute songs, and it's still, just the way you write them too. You always have, these stories within each song. It always feels like, an adventure start to finish. So you don't notice the length of the song until you stop and check the actual time list.
Right on.
So it worked out really good on this album.
All that being said, the next Deceased record, we are actually going to probably attempt to do shorter songs to see how we do it. I told Mike, and the influence has got nothing to do really with where it all goes, but I was watching Y&T doing Mean Streak at the M3 Fest on the video, and I said we should write a few songs with some simple stuff like that, just see where it goes, and then we'll probably do the next record, which me and Mike talked about, a 1-song record, just both sides of the record or the song. We've talked about that, and the shorter songs actually went all the way back to Blueprints, because when we went to do Blueprints, we were really originally going to do 22 songs that were 2 minutes each.
Oh, wow.
That was weird. But as soon as that happened, all of a sudden it was, let's take 3 of these 2-minute songs and make them 1 song. So these are ideas we have in our head. So, we have plenty of passion and an energy to keep doing this shit for a long time.
Do you think that maybe doing that Thrash Times at Ridgemont High covers album before this, for the prep for the new album, do you think that may have got the short songs out of your system? I mean, granted, you didn't write those songs, but still, you have to beat on those songs long enough to get good at them. So you kind of end up making your own in a certain way. I mean,
maybe so. I mean,
I paved the way for this one, perhaps.
I actually feel like as you get to stuff like on this record, when you get to stuff like the Reaper is Nesting and stuff, I hear a lot of thrash on those. Yeah. I hear some parts that remind me of Casbah from Japan. I hear some Fear of Tomorrow artillery bits in there. Yep. I even hear one bit on it's on the Reaper is Nesting. The one bit reminded me of something that could have been like the song Bonded by Blood. I hear a part, I was like, that's the Exodus part, if there's an Exodus part. And we would laugh, But I mean, my inspiration going into this album was the weirdest thing. I was listening to so much Jefferson Starship. But I don't mean we built your city on rock and roll.
Don't even say it. God damn, now it's in my head.
No, he knows it.
Say you don't know me.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Asshole.
No, but I was watching this one song. It was called Blessings. It's a cover of a song that's some folk singer wrote. And it's not Grace Slick. It's none of them. They were in a bar. And they were just playing these totally weird, like end of life folk kind of freaky things. And I was like, we're going to make this something like this is driving me to have that evil, emotional, weird melodies kind of thing. That and a lot of I got to be honest, a lot of Rush, Grace Under Pressure, those melancholic melodies in some of those songs, like that. That was a lot of stuff that for me that drove me with this one.
Yeah. So again, getting back to the songwriting, one thing that just Children of the Morgue, Terranaut, I just can't get over how effortlessly these songs flow. There's no riffs that sound out of place. There's nothing herky-jerky. There's no weird timing transitions. It's just, I don't know, man. Mike was on another plane when he wrote this shit. And, all you guys together. And is it true that Mark played on this for a minute? Did he do a solo?
Yeah, there's guest solos by quite a few people.
Okay,
and when you get the lyric sheet and everything, you'll see. Yeah, we had family and friends help play too. We wanted it. This is a family. I mean, we all talked about it. I brought this up. I was the elephant in the room because I'm a big guy. But no, I was telling them, I was like, hey, look, this is a family thing. We're all getting older. We just had a dear friend pass away. Our Dennis Cornelius, who was a guitar player in Doomstone, who he's the one that let us all jam, and we fucking rehearsed 13 Frightened Soul and until Blueprints. We moved out at his house. He was the one that had all those classic parties I tell you guys about.
Yeah.
About him. He passed away. We're getting older. Mike is older than me 1 year. I'm 56. He's 57. Mark is older than me. And we had people come in. We had Matt, who plays live for us, do some leads. You hear the voices on the record. You know what I'm talking about on Mother Earth. Those are some of the live guys. I wanted them included too. I wanted to make it a family thing because going forward, next year is the 40th anniversary. It's going to be a family thing. We're just all tied in. We've been doing this a long fucking time. We were sitting in there talking about it like, damn, thinking about the world when we started the band and where we were, But
once you start sitting down and processing, as we get busy in our day to day, you don't really consider the passing of time until you start looking at milestones. You look at your kids. You see how quickly your kids grow. I mean, you're a grandfather now. My kid's 14. He's 6'2". He just came in here before the show started, and I remember my baby boy.
Mine's 35.
Right, exactly. And then you get this band, almost 40 fucking years. I mean, when you start off as a kid making death metal music, no one plans. Do you think Corpse Grinder thought he would still be up on a stage, or any of us old farts would be up on a stage still playing kids music? It's fucking crazy if you think about it. And I could see how the family thing come together because I mean it's you start getting our age, man. Death it surrounds you. You see friends, family, like you said, and then you start thinking about it. It creeps into your thoughts a little bit more. And so it
stays there.
Yeah,
it doesn't go away. It may not be the first thing you're thinking at the moment, but it's right there behind something.
It's always there.
It just is, and it is what it is. If it happens, it happens. Yep. We're gonna just do everything we can to do it. Again, have been in the stroke ward at 36, all that stuff, the things I've seen, the friends I've lost, losing Dave 18 out of the blue. One minute we're recording Ghostly Light, the next minute he's passed away, drowned.
Oh, Jesus.
Shit like that happens. That's the way of the world.
Yep.
And that's all. If you listen to the Deceased new record, it's somehow in those lyrics, all of it, what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alan, do you have some more for King? I've been rambling a lot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you said you've been really busy.
I'm glad y'all listen. I'm glad you liked it because I appreciate and respect your opinions. That's cool.
Oh no, it is good. But yeah, you said you've been pretty busy with stuff, and y'all have been out and about on the road some this 2 year. How's everything going with scheduling, live shows, tours?
Right before we did the album, we went out and did a 10-day tour with Violence and Exorder on the East Coast. That went phenomenal. Playing a little bit early, 35-40 minutes. So many people that hadn't seen us because they were knew Violence and Exorder more than us, and then surprisingly, a lot of people that came to see us, and then we're like, oh, we're just here to see you. I mean, that too. So you get a little bit of everything. All the bands do, and that meant a lot to us because we really went over well. So now, when we're at the part now, we get the record out. We got to regroup and figure out what we're going to do next. I know we have. We're playing the RPM Festival in Massachusetts on Friday, August 30th. We're playing the Book of Armageddon Festival in Brooklyn the next day, the 31st. That's going to be really wild. We got Detente on there, Blood Feast, all kinds of crazy shit. Nasty Savages playing. It was Darkness, but they couldn't get over because of visas. And then we have the record release show in D.C. where we get to go back to the home stand and do that. And then after all that, a month later, we go off to Hawaii to play a heavy metal fest in Hawaii,
Cool.
Holy shit.
And we're going to go there and do that. That's the 4 shows on the agenda.
Everybody get your Deceased banana hammocks.
I already told
you gotta get
Wolf,
Hell's to print up some grass skirt with the logo.
What's that, Alan?
You gotta get Hell's Headbangers to print up some grass skirts with the logo.
Oh, absolutely. I told everybody everybody's going to get a hoe there, a Don hoe. And we don't bring no tiki back. We did see the Brady Bunch episode.
Yes, yeah.
But,
or if you do, just don't enter the surfboard contest.
40th, we're going to do as much as we can, but we're really planning even to take this into next year. And Mike, when we go into next year, immediately we're going to do something called March the Cadavers. It's going to be a 2-CD history of the band thing with songs from every album, big liner notes, a big old book about that crazy. And we're going to do, I know we're going to do Lady Lust cover from Venom. We're going to do Die Young from Black Sabbath. We're going to do one song from each of the demos redone nowadays, how the old farts sound these days. And then we're going to do 2 exclusive songs to the CD along with everything else. We're going to put that out, Happy 40th. And then we're going to go out and try to see as much of this world as we can. Try to take in new places we haven't been. Try to get to Italy, Japan, things like that. Part of that, if we can make it all happen. And with all that family and some guys helping out playing live when other guys have to work or this and that, so we can all keep our roofs over our head, it should be able to fall into place. And that's the game plan. Will
Mike and Les get out for that trip, do you think?
Oh, yeah. Mike Smith's getting the itch again, and he doesn't have that same rash you have, Marty.
Right.
Mike's getting the itch. I mean, he told me, I don't work for the government no more. My kids are grown up. Hey, I can't sit home all day. We're all in this together. We'll do as much as we can.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. That's great to hear.
Great if they get back out on the road too with y'all.
And that's all we do. It's like Rip Taylor says, I don't sing and dance. That's all I do.
Yep.
So
we'll close the circle. Like I said, who knows when the other shoe's going to drop. So you might as well close the circle and start with family, end with family,
Exactly. And just as you said before I came on, August 30th, Hell's Headbanger, the new record on cassette and CD, then the double gatefold vinyl to follow. They're telling me around Halloween we'll have that in our hand.
All right. We've got the pre-order link is in the show notes down below for anybody that wants to go ahead and put in your orders. The link's right down there. And there's also a link to the full Deceased merch page for Hell's Headbangers if you want to get a shirt, if you need to pick up any of their other albums. Some folks have been mentioning that they missed an album here or there. It's all right down there, folks.
It's fine, but not too many people order. We're not trying to become one of the top 20 metal bands in Rolling Stone like happened last time. Fuck all that. I told Rolling Stone, thanks a lot, but don't fuck you. We like your record. Don't do that.
No, it's and I know myself and Alan, I've been listening to it all week, and it's right up there, Fearless on Dead Machines for me. Is it their best? I need to spend another couple weeks with it, but man, it's so fucking close. I'm just blown away at how epic it sounds. It's like these guys, it sounds like a new band to me. It's the old band, but a new, I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird. I can't put my,
it's still the old band with,
Yep.
everybody. It's just energy from everywhere. It's a positive energy for a negative subject.
It sounds very inspired.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
thanks,
yeah,
guys.
it very much
Appreciate
sounds like a great
We appreciate
Deceased
the promotion
album.
and support. Now, fuck Deceased, fuck all that. Let's talk about real heavy metal. God damn it!
Well, actually, we should talk before we jump into that about this documentary that's been toiling away for the past 2 decades. What's going on with that? What's going on with the documentary?
King of Metal Life. It's still coming. Patrick has been busting his ass. He put up a lot of money. He's been doing things his way, which takes time financially and stuff.
Oh, sure.
We've got so much footage. We've had so many good times and classic film shoots and just going, reliving my life again. Like I said earlier with the book, your back hurts when you're talking about things that make your back hurt, etc. But it's coming. He's doing animation right now. Again, the stories that people weren't in the room filming, back in the day, he's putting some of that to that. And, when it's done, it's done. I told him it's like the Cease records. We don't rush to get anything done. When it's done, it's there forever. It's our epitaph when we're said and gone. I respect that he's taking his time and doing it his way. He came in and got some footage when we recorded this record, which if say it was done 6 months ago, he wouldn't have had that.
Yep.
Say he did finish it a couple of years ago, but before Dave even died, we wouldn't have that. There's always new stuff. But as I said last time we talked when we were closing out, the Ken Burns, who's a big time guy, hit some of his film crew, came to the house, did a lot of stuff. They've got their hands involved too in it. So it's very professional. It's just not some guy holding his camera phone and all that. So it'll be worth the wait. I just saw the Voivod documentary. We Are Connected.
Oh, shit. I haven't seen that yet.
That is 100 out of 100. They go through everything. They talk about everything. You cry when they cry, talking about Piggy's death. They talk about the van wreck. Every album gets a fucking mention. They do it in nice things. It's 2.5 hours long. And
what was it on? Is it on a streaming service?
It's on nothing right now. It was just because I was one of the people interviewed for the movie. I had a special screening with them, but it is phenomenal. And it took a long time to get that thing where they wanted it to be. And it pays off. It wasn't rushed to the front of the stage, so to speak. So,
yep.
But I'm very happy. It's going to be neat when it's done. I got the vision of what he's going for and what we're going for with it, and it's going to be good. No time frame. Don't know when. I think he's planning to have some trailers winter time, some early trailers, and then a big trailer like when winter breaks. And I would say about a year from now, look for it.
Okay. Everybody asking in the chat about Chromie. He's home. They're home. Their house is fine. They apparently got the fire under control up there in Labrador around his place anyway. So the people asking about Chromie in the chat, yep, they're all home. Everything's good.
And I saw some questions down here or some thanks. Mike Damone shirt somebody loved. Absolutely, Mike Damone, he's the man. I saw somebody asked about the Sam Ain CD. They got it. Cool beans. Glad you enjoyed it. If I missed anybody else, hey. Sometimes when this is over the next day, I'll go. Well, I always go the next day and try to type the people that I missed and answer their questions. But it's just trying to keep up with you guys, and that it'll flash across the screen a little bit. Kind of like I feel like I'm in another oil spill. You remember the nuclear assault video?
Yeah,
that's what it's kind of like. So.
Bounce ball, yeah.
Yep.
And before we get started, I gotta say one thing. Happy birthday to Stephen Hughes, one of my best friends in the world. It's his birthday today. I know he's watching this. Happy birthday, brother.
Cool. Cheers to Stephen.
That's it.
Here's to Wicked, longtime viewer, but tonight's one of the first nights he's gotten to watch live. So cheers. Glad you got to check us out.
And thanks for the super chat, too. That was very kind of you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, have we missed anything? Nope.
Not as far as I know.
I think we've covered it pretty good. Thanks for all the insights on the new album. And yes, again, I haven't heard it quite as many times as Marty, but it's a very good album. Deceased fans are not going to be disappointed. Everybody put it on your calendar. Save again. Save your lunch money. Shake down some kids for their milk money. Shake down the kids for their milk money. Do what you have to do. August 30th. You got a month to come up with.
Give me the milk and you take the record.
Awesome. Well, so the 80s. we bandied about trying to figure out a topic for tonight. Come to find out, the longer you do a weekly show, it gets harder and harder to come up with topics. But we're still here for you. And Alan came up with the idea of talking about our favorite album from each year of the 80s. Yeah.
You meant the 1880s, right? Because that's what I've been studying all week.
Right.
My
1881
favorite number one was
in D
I had this
minor.
joke all day. The Chopin Block Blues. Okay.
Right
So,
on.
I got you. And I only had a couple days, so I'm okay with it. I'm very picky when I say my absolute favorite is something. It has to be. As I was telling Marty, I was like, shit.
Well, see, with me, my favorite can change. We could do this in 2 months, and my favorite, because I wrote down alternates on here, like things I had trouble deciding on.
Yeah, no, I got you. I have a couple that are like three-headed monsters.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Every one of them. I mean, as we get further into the 80s, the list gets longer and longer and longer. It's like, oh man, this is gonna be a fun discussion though, for sure.
Sure.
But well, King, let's talk about 1980. What were you doing in 1980?
I was 12 years old. I was still heavily into Kiss, but I was just starting. We were raiding my friend Dan's brother's tape collection, and this is about the time I found that Black Sabbath Paranoid, and we played a song to see if we liked it, and it was Planet Caravan, and we said, these guys suck. These guys are fucking hippies. They suck.
Yep.
I was listening. I remember some of the records then. I was just getting into Judas Priest. I was just getting into like Rush. Kansas was big for me. Just, kind of by the book stuff. Shooting Star was a band I picked up on early on, which was like kind of a Kansas type of band. They had a big hit called Last Chance then. Just listening to that stuff. 12 years old. What is that in school? Is that 8th grade or is that 7th grade? What would that be at 12?
6 or 7, yeah.
Okay, I think I was in 7th grade. Because I know, I was in 7th grade. I just started junior high school. We just did the whatever that's called the orientation. And this guy, you go to the school and somebody shows you around all day. You follow them around, and this guy looked at me and he's like, "You're gonna be a fucking pain in all these teachers' asses when you get here." And when I got there, I was. So I was starting to get outcast, grow the hair a little long. Probably stole a pack of cigarettes from my buddy Dan's dad and smoked a couple Merritts up in the attic, listening to Rev on the Red Line from Foreigner or Don't Bring Me Down or Another Brick in the Wall or some of those 45s we used to get.
Yep.
And that was me.
Awesome. Well, let's look at 1980. What did you come up with for your definitive favorite from 1980?
This was the easiest one for me. It was Sing Me a Song. You're a Singer. Heaven and Hell. I looked all day. I looked at a lot of records. A lot of records in a lot of ways have a meaning to me at that time, especially because it's all new to me and everything means so much. But come on. Heaven and Hell is Heaven and Hell, man. Right. I wasn't into Sabbath yet though. So in 1980, it wasn't my thing. Basically how I knew this came around was in 81, I kept hearing this song on the radio. I loved it. I was like, who the hell is this? This is the kind of stuff I want to play. And one day they said, that was Black Sabbath. The song was Heaven and Hell. This was Rock Radio 88. Play it. And I was like, oh my God, this is so great. So I went and got it. I'd seen the Smoking Angels record in my Zares or my Montgomery Wards. And when I got hold of it, Neon Nights was, that was early speed metal, I guess you'd call it. There's not a bad track on it. Everything's legendary. We've all heard that tale 1,000 times. For me, the Quiet Killer, my favorite tune on the record is actually Wishing Well.
Oh, I know. What a great deep cut. Great deep cut song.
It's my favorite Dio Sabbath cut, even over stuff like Sign of the Southern Cross or, is real, like Lonely is the Word from that. Those are my favorites. And Die Young. Those are like my favorite three. Most people are like, oh, the title track or Neon Nights or Children of the Sea. I love them, and I don't feel they're overplayed like you would say Iron Man or Paranoid kind of thing, but it's just something about those other songs. And when I look today and it came up 1980 and I saw all those record covers, I'm like, this is the easy one. So it was Heaven and Hell, Black Sabbath. I stand by it. Perfect. Martin Birch introducing himself to the Black Sabbath world. Sabbath was back and they were fucking shit hot.
Right on.
Good choice.
Good start. Alan, 1980. What were you doing in 1980?
Yeah, 1980. I wasn't pooping my pants anymore, but yeah, I think it
bullshit.
was.
I call bullshit.
It was.
Oh, you mean you actually stopped doing that? Are you supposed to stop doing that? Oh, wait.
Sell
We
out.
need to have a conversation, Marty. But 85, I was like kindergarten, first grade kind of range. So what was not yet checking out Heaven and Hell or anything, but I worked my way back through the years. Yeah, there were several good ones that came out in 80. Like y'all, I kind of came up with a short list of some things. Heaven and Hell is a very good one. There were three in particular. I had to kind of, which child do I love most? There's the self-titled Iron Maiden album, which I love to death. There's the debut from Angel Witch. It is very, very tempting to pick that one. But at the end of the day, I went for this Diamond Head, Lighten into the Nations. Fantastic album. One of the gems out of the new wave of British heavy metal. One of the bands that kind of showed early that, you could find these, small bands that nobody had heard of, and they could sound every bit as good as any of the, big stadium touring kind of acts from their era. Great vocalist, killer riffs, great songs, and the band had some success with MCA and stuff, but it never felt like they really ever reached their full potential. This is still the classic album that they did. And it's just one of those important pieces of heavy metal history. I mean, without this album and this band, if this band doesn't exist, Lars doesn't go follow them around on tour for a month. If they're not nice to Lars and he doesn't get to follow them on tour, he maybe doesn't come back to California ultra serious about, turning Metallica into a real thing. The whole...
You're making me hate this record.
If we want to go back in time, we could. But the last 40 years of heavy metal would play out very differently without this album and this band. Some parts of it maybe for the better, but probably a lot of it would be for the worse. The butterfly effect would probably bite us in the ass, King.
It's a neat pick. I respect that. That's your thing. I know how you are with your new wave of British heavy metal. That's a neat pick. It's an odd one. I saw a couple people down here say, "Wow, didn't think you'd go there," but hey, that's a good one. Ain't no heaven and hell, but hey, what is?
Yep.
All right, Marty.
Heaven and Hell's a fine pick too, cool. Absolutely. But yeah, that'll be mine for 1980. And Marty, which one did you choose out of all these big ones? Did you go with something obvious? Did you find something more cult?
Well, I tried to take this from the point that what I was actually listening to during the time. So, I wrote down Heaven and Hell, and the next year I wrote down Mob Rules, because those two, the Dio Sabbaths, blew my fucking mind. But I came late to that stuff. So I had to put myself in, what was I doing at 9 years old? 9 years old, I was still very much Kiss. Kiss Unmasked came out that year, and I got to say I loved it. I love it. I still put it on. I hate Shandy. I don't like the Ace songs. I love
Ace songs sucks.
Yeah, What Makes the World Go Round. She's So European. I love that album. But
Easy as It Seems. Don't forget that one, please.
Oh, great songs. But
there it is.
This stumbled across my radar somehow, and this blew my 9-year-old mind fairly well. I really wanted to pick Heaven and Hell here, and I can't say that Kiss is real close to being dethroning this, but when you hear this for the first time after being nothing but Kiss and ABBA and Mac Davis and Neil Diamond and all the shit, Kenny Rogers, all the shit my parents listened to when I was growing up, ABBA, I mean, this here is probably the heaviest thing ever, and to this day, I mean, the next one's my favorite one, but I love Paul Di'Anno on this Maiden shit. I love his voice. I love his street brawler vocal style. This is a special record, and they get better, but I love it. And for 1980, this really set me on a different trajectory. It wasn't much longer. It was a couple years that I was ripping my Kiss posters off my wall and throwing them in the garbage, which to this day, I fucking regret. Because I had some bangers that are probably worth some money now, but whatever.
You one right to my left.
I don't want to see it. Whatever. Mine are long.
In reaction to that, I want to say here's two things. I'm actually disappointed with the debut from Maiden, and I'll tell you why. The same reason that Sabbath came back with Martin Birch, Maiden suffered from not having Martin Birch yet. I feel like the recordings of those great songs, that whole record's loaded with great songs, are not the perfect forever epitaph version they should be there.
Yeah.
Steve Harris wishes they waited for Martin Birch. Every time you bring up that record, he says it. Those songs are perfect. It's like I use it as the first Kiss. You don't go and listen to Deuce or Strutter off the first Kiss. You go to Kiss Alive 1.
Yeah.
They're done right and they're up tempo. That. It's not as extreme as Kiss, but that Maiden for me, sometimes it's a little not as intense as I think that he would have brought him to be. But I mean, it's a legendary rock record and legendary band, so it's a killer. I think both picks are cool.
Yep. No, and that's fair about the self-titled Maiden. Yeah, the production is the one.
And if we notice something, we're all going British here.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, King. 1981. What were you doing in 1981? We're not going to do this every time. We're not going to do
it. I had a little bit more armpit hair than almost had a little bit of a piece of beard. I think I grew this then.
He still has the original pube on his.
I never got acne growing up, and I was pissed about it. So my mom's like, "Well, shit, because it's most of the time it's sweat glands." So I took a thing of butter one time across my face, trying to make zit. I don't get any. I never have. It's weird. Anyway,
you're probably your pet's favorite delicious snack. All the butter you had slathered all over you.
So in '81, like I said, when we were talking about Heaven and Hell, that Black Sabbath song came on. I discovered Black Sabbath. We went and saw Black Sabbath on the Mob Rules tour. I sold my soul to fucking heavy metal December 3rd, 1981 at that Mob Rules. Easy pick for me. It's Mob Rules. It's fucking Mob Rules. My favorite Sabbath record. The best album cover in the history of album covers to me. I love everything about it. It's Dio at his finest. Sabbath has never sounded more wicked, insane. It also is close to my heart because, again, I was my first concert I ever went to without my mommy and stuff. We had a great time. It was unbelievable. And if I had to put two heads next to it, the runners up, it would be fucking a Diary of a Madman, and it would be fucking BOC, Fire of Unknown Origin. Right there. That's 2 and 3. Diary of a Madman's the only Ozzy solo record for me that's start to finish a masterpiece. And that's one thing as I go on that I took into consideration. It's not only maybe some albums had better songs on them we're going to come to for me. Like my favorite songs were on an album, but they weren't picked because the entire album didn't kick my ass. It's got to be from the song one to the end where I'm just like, there's no stopping this fucking record. And even with E5150 on the Mob Rules, it's a perfect record. It blew my mind. I know I wore that shirt, that jersey 700 times to school
stained it with butter, got butter stains
got butter
on
all over it. And you get a little school pizza on the sleeve. And it just is Mob Rules with a special nod to Diary of a Madman, Ozzy's finest hour, Over the Mountains, my tune there, and BOC for their best record, Fire of Unknown Origin for me, their disco, heavy metal, hard rock, something else record.
All right. There it is. Okay, Alan. 1981.
81, yeah. All right. I had a couple of runners up here. The Venom, Welcome to Hell, deserves a shout out here for sure. Very fun album. I know a lot of people gravitate more to black metal, but Welcome to Hell is every bit as good. Maiden's Killers, yeah. Big step forward in terms of sound and aggression on that album. That one's fantastic. But in terms of what actually wins out, well, you know what they say, King. When you listen to fools, the mob rules.
I knew I liked you better than Marty. I knew I liked you better than Marty.
Hey! That's all right.
That album cover. Show that album cover. Greg Hildebrandt. God damn.
Yeah, the cover art, yes. Just
I'm going to spray paint my entire block of that artwork.
Yes.
I got 3 sketch artists coming over later tonight. We'll be up until morning. But no, right on, brother, right on.
Yeah, it's insane. Everything King said. This album, just the sound quality, production, just dirty, crazy, over the top, loud, and just everything from the opening notes of Turn Up the Night. This album just kicks your ass, and it really never stops. Voodoo is great. Sign of the Southern Cross is like heaven and hell, but you haven't heard it 100 times, so it still feels fresh every time it comes on. The Mob Rules, crushing. Country Girl's great. Falling Off the Edge of the World is cool. Over and Over is a good closer. Slipping Away is the
silent killer on that one, man.
Which one, King?
Over and Over is the silent killer for me.
Over and Over is a great
one
outro
of
for the album.
He's ever done. One of the most melancholic moments.
Yep. Slipping Away is the only track I don't give 5 stars or so on. It's not a bad track. It just doesn't quite. You got to have one that's.
That always reminds me a little bit of Coverdale era Deep Purple. With the bass fill and stuff. I think there's a tune on, maybe it's on Stormbreaker, that reminded me of that.
Yeah, fair. But still, it's a crusher monster of an album. And it won out this year pretty easy for me. Absolutely. 81, Black Sabbath, The Mob Rules. I have a feeling I know what Marty's going to pick, and he's not going to.
It's okay. It starts with a K, and so does Kingsley, so we're okay.
Yeah, Marty is not part of the mob mentality tonight, I don't believe. So let's make it official.
It actually is first on my list here, but I, again, took it to what was I actually listening to. I mean, I could go back and rewrite my history here, but I decided to stick authentic. And also, another one that was way up at the top for me that I really had to think about was Kisses the Elder. Man, I fucking love that record. I don't care. I don't care that.
Then too.
I liked it then,
but I liked it.
It was weird, but man, I got excited. Oh, there's a movie? There's going to be a movie? Fuck yeah.
It's the kid from Meatballs. It's the kid from Meatballs.
Oh my God.
Said, Chris, make peace. That sounds weird.
So, I mean, I love that record. I still love that record, but man, I got 2 in a row here, but this is my favorite. I told
you it was going to start with a K.
Yeah. This is my favorite Maiden record. It still is.
Phenomenal.
A favorite song on here. One of them is Twilight Zone.
Love it. That's
the highest some of the highest shit that Paul Di'Anno ever did. I don't foresee. Yep, I don't really see him doing that live much after this. But man, what a perfect fucking record. Perfect fucking record from start to finish. Not a throwaway track. I really don't think there's a throwaway track on here. It's just perfect. And what an epitaph for Paul Di'Anno. Great, going out on top as far as I'm concerned. And
he did.
That's
a masterpiece. That's another one of the best heavy metal album covers of all time.
Oh, 100%. Is there a more iconic image than that? There really isn't. The background, I mean, the color scheme, all of it. Riggs nailed it on this thing.
And the timing of when that was released to actually have the the lady's chest back there and the peaky poop and all that. That was something that was now it's like, when people heard Show No Mercy, how fast it was from Slayer. Now it's like you hear it sounds like Candlemass. But that Maiden was extreme as shit back then to see in the store,
Mm-hmm. Yep, this is a Harvest pressing. I got it for $10 at a record show.
Hey, good man.
Before the prices went ridiculous. It's in great shape. Anyway, yep. So
once again, we're all still in the UK for favorites.
Mob Rules, my favorite Sabbath record. And it might be I struggle to pick Mob Rules or Rainbow Rising for my favorite Dio record. And the first Dio, let's be honest, the first Dio rules too. He's
caught in the middle.
I mean, Mob Rules is an amazing record. So good. Again, very inspired. They sounded refreshed that Ozzy wasn't in the band. They were writing some really colorful, emotional stuff. But anyway, 1992.
82.
You better change that to 82 because that's what I got here.
Well, that's what I meant. 1992. Sorry. I'm not used to, yeah.
92 would probably be Ian Gillan Toolbox. For me, this is the easiest one of them all because if anybody knows me, and some people are like, huh? Out of all the record, that piece of shit, that cover is so great, and that record sucks. Uriah Heep, Abominog. It's my favorite record over Number of the Beast, over Metal on Metal, which are my backups. I'm a big Metal on Metal guy. That's what got me into all that fucking crazy shit. You got your fucking Exciter, Heavy Metal Maniac. Those were records I was playing at the time. But Uriah Heep, Abominog, for me, is the perfect record. It's my favorite record of all time by anybody. So how could it not be number one when we come to this year? It's got hard rock. It's got melodic rock. It's got pop sensibility. It's got amazing leads, vocals, drumming, arrangements. It's just the perfect record to me. It's British hard rock. It's some of the best fucking people on the motherfucker too. So It's that easy. I've had people tell me, yo, man, you're so right. That's the way that it is. Maybe the greatest hard rock single ever. And I have other guys like, that record sucks. It's not even Uriah Heep's best record. And I see Marty's already there. So, Alan, can you put me above him in the picture so I can bonk him?
Actually, there's 2 records, King, that you very passionately recommended I go out and get. Abominog was one of them, and Tony Iommi's Black Star record or 7 Star record.
Mm-hmm.
Dislike both of them. I
that's
like
why they're good.
That's nothing, Marty, for tonight.
Some people don't get it.
Apologies to our guests.
Don't like them, and that's fine, brother. I get it. I've got people all the time. A guy over in my Facebook page. Every time I bring up Abominog, he's like, "Took that record back. Sorry, King." I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if I'm the only person in the world that likes it. It has that spooky cover. People think it's going to be super heavy. It's not. But there is tracks. Actually, "Sell Your Soul" from that record Bob Daisley helped write was actually supposed to be on Diary of a Madman with Ozzy, and they
that's right.
Keeping it for themselves. I just love it. It has all the everything I love about music. I think when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, my favorite music in the world is British hard rock. It's like, it's like that. It's just my favorite stuff. And this record is, that's the way that it is. Too Scared to Run. Sell Your Soul, Running All Night with the Lion. A lot of songs they didn't even write, but they sure delivered those tunes well. And I don't expect anybody below to be like, oh yeah, that was my favorite too. But
I got the record. I found it cheap at a record store downstate. I'm like, King's been on me to get this. I'm getting it. I get home, put it on. The first track, I'm like, here we go. This is kick ass, good hard rock.
And then it changed.
And then it fucking sinks. It lost all its itchy balls.
Depending on which version you got, the import or the US one, the second song's On the Rebound, which has a very Kiss Unmasked vibe to it, or it's Chasing Shadows if you get the import. And that's a much more almost like Ozzy, keyboardy driven, but it's not for everyone. It's just, I love it so much. And you don't go into this year and go, it's Number of the Beast.
No, you don't. No,
Number of the Beast has 3 of the best Maiden songs ever on it. My favorite song ever by Maiden, Children of the Damned, 22 K Shabadoo, and of course, Hallowed Be Thy Name. But for me, Run to the Hills, the song is better live. I don't care for it so much on the record, so that takes away from that. And then Anvil Metal on Metal's probably my second favorite. That record, man, when I first heard it, it just blew my fucking face off. I like this guy. He says Abominog rules. Maybe he means the band.
Thanks, Alex, for the chat, man. Super chat. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, thank you, buddy.
Michigan represent.
But, and then people are like, Metal on Metal, Anvil sucks. I saw them. It was 4 people there and blah, blah, blah. Not in 82. Lemmy begged Lips to be the new guitar player when Fast Eddie left. And Lips
really?
He begged them to. Anvil was shit hot. They were the best drummer, the fastest double bass, 666. I know fucking Alan knows. 666, jackhammer. Those were the speed metal. Those were the fastest.
It's a good album.
Speed.
I dig it. Yeah.
But those are the ones. There's others. I see people naming all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of good stuff that we're all going to have to pick one and look below and see. Oh yeah, you start seeing all these other bands down there, and it is what it is. But that's truthfully from the heart. Uriah Heep, Abominog.
And 7 Star, I still own the record, so I can circle back around here and check it out. My tastes have changed a lot since I bought it. So,
well, when we get to 87, we'll see.
We'll see. All right, Alan. 1982.
82. For the record, I do like Abominog. I don't like it at the same level King does. I don't know if anyone does, but it's a good album. I haven't played it in a long time, but I do like it. 82 has some big monster albums, but I did not pick one of them. We've already mentioned Number of the Beast, and I feel the same way about it. Some 2 or 3 outstanding songs, and the rest, it's just not my album. Screaming for Vengeance is 82. Again, a few.
That's another one.
Songs, but
Best Priest.
Yep, it's got some good songs on it, but there's a few I'm not nuts about. Someone in the chat mentioned Accept, Restless and Wild, and I was tempted to maybe pick that one. You got
not a perfect record though.
Not a perfect record, no. Scorpions Blackout comes out in 82, so yeah, there's a lot of big things. This was the one year where I went with something a little more underground, just because it's an old favorite. I've always loved this band since the first time I heard them. Witchfinder General.
Oh, yeah, I was looking at that one too, man. Nice tits.
Everybody looks at this one a lot.
I was talking about you, Alan.
I was gonna say thank you, King.
I got off in Facebook for a week for playing a track from that. And they were like, "You got boobs on your page." One
Yeah.
whatever. Fuck you.
But
Go ahead,
yeah.
Alan. I'm sorry, buddy.
Oh no, that's good, man. Yeah, another new wave of British heavy metal band. Not one of the bigger bands of the era. They were very more steeped in the Black Sabbath kind of sound than most stuff from the early '80s British scene did. But yeah, they do it really well. It's a very fun album, heavy tracks, great riffs, crazy vocals. It's held up really well for me. I've been playing this for almost actually probably about 30 years or so at this point, maybe over 30. Jeez. And yeah, just comparing it to all those others, it's like we were saying, it's just like, I like that Priest album, but it's not perfect. I like that Maiden album, but it's got its problems. It's like, this is the one I play the most out of anything I listed. So absolutely got to go with Death Penalty.
Rick, go get your own.
Asking for a little friend.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, that is a perfect album, Alan. You're right. That record, both those Witchfinder General records, start to finish, they're some of my favorite new wave of British heavy metal records.
Yeah, both of them are great.
I know they were considered Sabbath clones, and they do have their little kick drums, arts that sounds like Iron Man and all that, but they're their own entity, man. They're awesome. They should never have come back for that one crappy record. But those records, there was nothing bad about them until they came back.
So you had to go and mention it, and now I'm sad. Marty, give us a good album while I
that's
drink
what happens.
my
You don't mention Heaven and Hell as your favorite record, but that's okay. Okay, Marty.
All right. Well, I was all about this when it came out. Venom's black metal, and yes, I love Teacher's Pet. I don't care. I think that is great ending to side one. It's a fun song.
Like Teacher's Pet.
Huh? There's people on here. I see people online. I'll bitch. Every time we show this record, they're like, Teacher's Pet sucks. I don't know.
Oh, come on, guys. Just because you weren't Teacher's Pet, you were the worm in the apple.
Teacher's Pet, Teacher's Wet. I love it. What to say about this? Height of the Satanic Panic. And it was all of the crap on TV that made me aware of this record. And a friend. But I felt like I was buying something wrong when I got. Of course, this is a $1.99 copy I found back when people were dumping their vinyl, but when CDs took off. But man, this record rules. It rules. It's my favorite Venom. I think it's my favorite Venom. Yeah, it's probably my favorite Venom. I mean, it's my first Venom.
It's still a toss-up with that and Welcome to Hell for full length. My favorite Venom is always going to be the Warhead EP.
That's Nightmare isn't on an album, is it? It is a single, right?
Yeah, it's a single for a little bit later.
I love that song. That's a great fucking Venom song. Nightmare is a great song.
Nightmare's cool.
Yep, this here is peak Satanic Panic era, the 80s, and I love it. It's looking back on it now, it's so tongue-in-cheek Satanism. It's laughable, but back when I was how old was I? I don't know. I wasn't that old. It was real, man. It was scary. I'm listening to evil shit. But the music holds up. Big fan of Venom, for sure.
And if we notice, I've just noticed what we all notice, 9 records in, all 9 of them British metal records.
Right.
Yeah. We've talked about that before. It took America a minute to get going on metal in the 80s.
Well, yep, because I'm about to break the streak.
One thing here that to be noted is 1982, Merciful Fate's Nuns Have No Fun EP drop.
Great
so
EP.
that's about to be a situation here coming up in the 80s for me for sure.
Yep. And they have to move to mainland Europe, the continent.
Yep. Here we go, King. 1983.
There was 3 really hard ones to choose, and I'm gonna count them down. The ones I did not choose. These are my favorite 3 for me. Peace of Mind ends at 3. It's my favorite Maiden album, but it ends at 3 on the year. Somebody earlier said Iron Maiden's their favorite band, but they do this. I'm gonna give away something. Iron Maiden doesn't win any of these for best record of the year, and these ones for me doesn't ever take it. But they're my favorite band of all time. So number 2, and this is where it got tough for me, was Y&T Mean Streak. Their best record, one of the best heavy hard rock records ever made. But here we go. We're going to America for fucking Warlord Deliver Us.
Oh, fuck,
one of the best records in the history of metal.
That's a great record.
In the history of metal. And that one changed my life so much. Because as soon as I put that on, I'm like, these guys are all over the place. It was also probably one of the very first underground records I pulled out of the bin. That, because everybody back then was like, okay, New Kiss, or whoever the new band was, here's Helix, or here's fucking Vandenberg, or something like that. But I dug deeper in Metal Massacre and Bitch and Demon Flight, and I got this one that had that girl in the cemetery. I'm like, I got to get this. I took it home. True story. We were smoking, toking. We were partying all the time. A bunch of girls, crazy as shit, out of our mind. I didn't go to any parties that weekend. I sat there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and just listened to that back and forth repeatedly. That's still one of the best records in the history of heavy metal for me.
Still gives you the chills.
Easily Warlord Deliver Us for me.
Yeah. What a great record. Great record.
They never came close to it again.
Have you heard the posthumous album that just came out?
Not a big fan.
Okay, I haven't heard it yet. I've heard mixed reviews.
I mean, the singer is a good friend of mine. He's a great guy. I wish him well, but it's just not the same. It wasn't even the same when he was still trying to do it later on for me.
Yeah.
Deliver Us is all I need, and I'm happy.
Right. All right. Alan, 1983.
83. Want to say a quick hi to Mount Scalawag. Glad you made it for the show live tonight. Very cool. And you've got excellent taste, and we're on the same channel because 83 for me.
There it is.
Manila Road Crystal Logic, their finest hour and one of the
Now
finest.
we're stuck in America, aren't we, Alan?
We have very much crossed the Atlantic here for sure. And yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
My butt was wet.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in 83. You've got, like you said, Peace of Mind. Yeah, probably my favorite Maiden as well. We didn't mention Kill 'Em All or Show No Mercy, both 83s, but I was really tempted to go with Show No Mercy, but
I love it. I love that record. It's just, it wasn't top 3 for me.
Yeah, if it was in another year, like if it had come out in 82, it would have beat the Witchfinder General pretty easy. But no, for 83, this album, I never get tired of playing this album. I can go back to it anytime and just enjoy the hell out of it. It's Manila Road at their heaviest. It's got some of their doomiest tracks on it, and I think they were excellent when they did that kind of stuff. Yes, you've got the classic Necropolis opening through the jungles by the river Styx. Gotta love it.
Can you do that again for me, man? That was cool.
No, I don't think I can. That was a one-done deal.
All right, Marty, you're my favorite again.
He's a fickle one, that King.
He is.
But yeah, you've got a Riddle Master, a track nobody ever mentions, and damn, that thing is just heavy as shit on here. Fantastic album, start to finish. Fun trivia fact for folks if they've never noticed it before. And Aaron over on Metal Theologian pointed this out to me years ago. The Roadster pressing is like mixed different than the Black Dragon pressing. One of them's a little faster than the other. So depending on which version you own, if you hear the other one online and it sounds weird, you're probably just hearing the other version. Black Dragon changed it and sped it up slightly compared to the original. So if you want to be real diehard about it, you got to get both versions, and then you can compare and see which one's your favorite. I'll take the slightly slower original Roadster for my money. And thank you to Aaron for pointing that out back a few years ago. So yeah, I got to go with the Manila Road for 83. So, Marty, are you in the States as well for 83? Are we going to make it a clean sweep for the USA here in Olympic season?
Well, actually, I carried around the original Roadster copy of this to show tonight, but then I realized I didn't really start getting into Manila Road until 2000 when they reunited. I missed all that shit, but had to backtrack. So I put that back. Merciful Fate Melissa was also in my hand, but I'm showing another one of theirs here later, but I had to go with this one. This album,
Fair.
And the 3-song Haunting the Chapel is probably my favorite Slayer.
Yeah.
But they were never this Slayer again.
They were never that cool again. Y'all can keep your fucking Rain and Bloods.
I love Rain and Blood too. I'm not going to lie. I love the intensity of it, but this here.
I'm listening to the title.
Yep. This here is new wave of British heavy metal influence. There's so many really great riffs on this thing. So melodic and cool and catchy. Cryonics. Holy shit.
Live by the
Black
Sword.
Magic, Die by the Sword, The Antichrist. This is just a great record. It's a great record. It holds up true to this day. A lot of people, I like Hell Awaits, but I don't love Hell Awaits. I was disappointed by Hell Awaits because I wanted this. I wanted more of this. I don't like the production
of Hell Awaits. I think that would have been better had it sounded better. It's a little sloppy, a little loose on the drums even.
The drums are rough. The rough production on the drums. But this is one of those perfect riff records, and it's a bummer they never did one more album in this vein. It would have been really nice, but I I like Hell Awaits. I really like Rain and Blood. After that, I start to wander a bit.
You're my favorite again, Alan.
So, yep. And that brings us to 1984. We did a perfect sweep of American bands there. Is that what we did? Yep.
We did.
We did.
A little Grand Funk maybe in the background.
Michigan represent.
Yeah, we're an American band. All right, well, fuck it. Let's leave America. Now here, this might have been the hardest one of the whole thing because one of these records I consider the greatest heavy metal American album ever made, and the other one's the coolest record ever possibly made. So what the fuck do I do? Gotta go with the coolest record ever. So number 2, and this is never number 2 because I'm saying it on the record. This is the greatest American heavy metal record ever made. Jagdpanzer, Ample Destruction. It is a perfect record. Well, when people were yelling Slayer and Metallica, you can ask any of the deceased guys that knew me back then. I was yelling Jag fucking Panzer, Ample Destruction. That and that fucking Battle Zones EP killed me. Perfect record. That's going to come in at number 2, and I don't want to call it number 2 because that means shit, and it's not that.
Now would be a good time for Alan to pull out his 24 different copies of that he owns.
I've got 25, so let me know which one you're missing. But the number 1 album, it's got to be War and Pain. Man, is that the greatest fucking record ever made. That thing tilted my head away that it could never go back the other way again.
Is that why it looks that way?
Exactly. That's War and that's Pain. So we're in Canada. This record's barbaric. It's insane. It's intense. It's fucking nuts. It's broken English. That way he wrote the shit like it was a fucking caveman on a fucking cave on sticks writing the lyrics, putting that on. All the bass fills, all those weird drum flangey stuff, the vocals. It was nuts. It was new wave of British heavy metal, yet it was fucking
punk.
Venom, yet it was punk, yet it was fucking hard rock. It was rock and roll. These solos would come in that sounded like AC/DC at times.
Yeah.
It was insane. And it was the beginning of my favorite underground band of all time, Voivod. And I know I played that record at least, and I'm going to give you a number that's honest, at least 600 times the year I bought that. I mean, it just kept playing over and over. Metal Blade had gone to that silvery middle record when that came out. And it just blew my fucking face off. And there's just nothing else on this planet like the War and Pain record. There's just nothing like it.
There's something to be said too about the broken shitty English of it too. The weirdness of the lyrics really kind of add to it too.
It gives you an odd personality. It takes you off this planet.
Yep.
So that's the one for me. But I have to give Jagdpanzer their due. That record 600 times too. So that's the closest I think I came to a two-headed monster. But I went Voivod.
Right on. Awesome. Good pick. Alan.
Let's see. 84 was the most heartbreaking one for me as well in terms of having 2 to choose from. And like King, Jagdpanzer came in number 2. It breaks my heart. I agree. It is the best U.S. metal album.
You need to throw at least 13 of those records in the trash then.
Yeah, it's not going to be number 1. You got to give up 13 of them.
No, not going to happen. Not going to happen. There's still 2 or 3 I need. Maybe when I get the whole set, we'll just move them all at once.
Okay.
But yeah, so same number 2 as King. Different number 1, though. I did not head north into Canada. I headed back to the continent because this came out. And
it's a great one. It's their best for me.
Yeah. One of the, again, we've mentioned it with some others, one of the best album covers of all time.
Yep.
Just from the opening notes, it just makes the hair on my arms stand up to this day. And it never really lets up. Amazing album. Why do I pick it over Jagdpanzer? Maybe just because, there are some other things out there that could be really close to Jagdpanzer. Not quite there, but close. Nobody really compares to Merciful Fate. Nobody else could do what they did. Hell, even they couldn't do what they did when they came back and tried in the 90s. Some of the 90s stuff is good, but they never really recaptured it.
To me, that's their finest moment. That was it. In the Shadows is okay. I never liked anything after that. When I used to have a record, a magazine, I always said it used to be an event when a Merciful Fate record came out. After those records started coming out, it just was like another Merciful Fate, okay. Because back then it was, oh my God, I can't wait to hear the new Merciful Fate, after Melissa. I was there first day.
Sorry.
Because I had heard the EP luckily early on. But like you're saying now, I think I picked that up on Easter. Fucking Easter.
Nice.
I think I got that and Trouble the Skull the same day.
Nice.
Yep. But yeah, there's just nothing much that could replace that. So that eked out the Jagdpanzer Ample Destruction. It is the one that hurts the most on this entire list.
It does me. So hey,
it really does.
If you weren't, you were my favorite again now.
There we go. And cheers to Aaron. Good to see you in the chat. We were just mentioning you a few minutes ago, Aaron. If you're just tuning in, we were talking about you with in context to Manila Road, Crystal Logic.
And I did before you go, Marty. Not to interrupt you, but I saw Fistful of Metal down there. I love that. That's the only
great record.
I need.
Oh,
They crashed off a cliff after that one. And the first Metal Church, absolutely too. There's so many now. We're gonna be turning down a lot of great stuff.
I know.
To me, it gets harder and harder for a few years here. But
Indeed,
Marty, take it away, brother.
All right. Well, I'm cheating off of Alan's paper here because
there we go.
Yeah.
This is a top 10 record for me of all time. When this thing, I've heard this for the first time. The stoner guy at the local college radio station had a metal show. Hey, this is Keith. This is Some Merciful Fate. And he put on some of the most evil shit I ever heard. A friend of mine got this first, taped it for me. Finally got a copy of the record. And this album is my favorite duo guitar, my guitar duo, Hank Sherman, Michael Denner. What a perfect way they complement each other. And it comes together so perfectly on this record. And I'm not going to lie, it scared me a little bit too back in the day when this came out. Just that creepy fucking picture on the back.
Yeah.
It's just the lyrics, it was like Anton LaVey Satanism, but you know what? It felt real. It felt like you were
right, man.
It felt right. It felt like you're like looking through the trees in this wooded Sabbath where naked chicks on an altar and all that fun stuff. But this is it. This is
It's a great one, man. It really is. I mean, come on, that's Merciful Fate before they had the breakup and all that shit. That's immense.
And I'm looking over the year 1984. I've got some other stuff wrote down here. There's no understate. I know King isn't a fan, but Ride the Lightning, Metallica was a huge band in my evolution to heavier shit. They just were. Power Slave was on the list.
Great Maiden.
Yep. Morbid Tales. I know that's another one Fowley's not a fan of. And the first Metal Church. My God. Me and my kid listened to that the other day in the car. What a great fucking, it's still to this day. What a great fucking record.
One of the greatest drum playing records ever. The sound of the drums on that record.
Merciless Onslaught. Oh my God. What a rager.
We used to cover that with Deceased right around that time, right after that.
Yep.
We used to cover that one. Instrumental.
And we've also been, the kids getting into the dark too. I love that record too. One of David Wayne's best vocal performances. He just really nails it on that one. But anyway,
underrated
King,
for sure.
Underrated. Let's go to 1985.
Well, I've had my first last minute change because I was thinking of one record and I was like, I forgot to look it up if it was 85.
I got pee. I'll be right back.
I'm gonna do my countdown. Number 3 for me was Endless Pain, Creator. I love that fucking record. It's unbelievable how fast it was, how raw, instantly something that Deceased took to, or like this is influenced the shit out of us. This drummer on half the songs, great as hell. This was going to be my first, but I remembered something I liked even more. Number 2, The Spectre Within, Fate's Warning. Nice. Amazing record. John Arch is spot on, though I'm still the oddball out that thinks Night on Brocken is their best. I'm still that guy, but I love this record. And it was going to be number 1 because for me, 85 didn't have as many as 84 did, and even 86 coming up did for me. But number 1, this is a last minute thing, and I just wanted it to be there. Just had to figure it out. For me, it's the English Dogs Forward into Battle record. It's a phenomenal record. It's probably the best metal crossover record of all time for me. It's vicious. It's mean. In some ways, it's a little baby brother to War and Pain, though it's got more influences but I could hear the Metallica when the band was trying to do that. I even remember the guitar player had the Ride the Lightning shirt on. I could hear the guitar kind of doing that open crunch kind of stuff in there. The songs are so good. The vocals are phenomenal. If anybody's listening, watching, whatever, English Dogs Forward into Battle, for me, one of the greatest albums in the history of the underground, whatever you want to call it, the scene, blah, blah, blah. So that's me. Now I'm back in England again because that's where the English Dogs come from.
Yep.
You ever hear that, Alan? Do you care to hear that? Was it something up your alley? Or you?
Oh, yeah, no, that's a good album. I haven't heard it in a long time, but no, it's very good. It's one of those, whenever I go back to it, I'm like, why don't I play this more often? Because no, it's a good band.
Yeah, they never could get close again. They did that Metamorphosis follow-up EP was good, but then they did Where Legends Began, and it was very Metallica, where it was just clean guitars, and they were trying to put like a lot of bands did acoustic stuff here and there.
Yeah, they kind of lost what was making them special and unique by that point a little bit.
And Creator Endless Pain, I just think it's a great, raw, rough,
I do too.
Album.
Yeah, a lot of people are kind of down on Endless Pain because they feel like maybe it's a little too sloppy or amateurs, but I love it. It's vicious. It's perfect.
To it.
Yeah, it's what I want in German thrash metal from that era. I want it to be just dirty, sloppy, crazy, insane, and pissed off, almost evil, angry for sure. No, that's a good list.
Did you hear that, Marty?
I did, and I want to say too, if there's ever another Deceased covers album, although it isn't on that album, I want to hear Deceased cover of Damnation by Fate's Warning.
I could do it. Damnation.
What a great fucking song.
I always wanted. That's a good one. That's got that one riff that just keeps going. Dan, ticka, dan, ticka, dan, ticka, dan.
Yep.
If I covered a Fate's Warning song, I don't know. I mean, nobody can cover The Apparition because it's perfect. That's one of the greatest moments. All three of us know that the the watch part in that song is one of the coolest moments in heavy metal.
Yeah, that
if you don't
really
agree,
is.
then you should just literally cut your nuts off and fucking play soccer with fucking
soccer. You're being generous. More like cricket. More like cricket.
Well, you can't play soccer without a ball.
You have to be able to find the ball, though.
That's true. Yeah. I would love to do a Fate's Warning. If you look at the first Deceased promo picture ever, I'm wearing a Spectre Within shirt in it. And I remember Mark's like, I can't stand them. He never liked them. Never.
Very polarizing.
It's the weirdest thing, not to go cut subject, but just for 30 seconds, it was the weirdest thing. Like, nobody in Deceased liked Rain and Blood when it came out. We were all disappointed. It's weird. Like, none of us have. I mean, we all had this. It's weird. We all were a more voivod, weird kind of thing, and things like that. And but once in a while, there'd be one band that just didn't work. Like, I remember trying to turn Mark onto that one, or like Burning Star from Hellstar, and he's just like, nah, I don't like it. Then he plays something, and I'm like, nah, because I remember he was like, I like Rat, and I was like, I'm not big on Rat,
I like Rat. I like early Rat.
It was some early, some shit like that,
but
it's always weird. We talk about things, but that we're a little bit different than most people. Like, you don't ever see us wearing those kind of shirts that a lot of people wore.
Yep.
And it wasn't because we were trying to be different. It's just we were just these doofy kids from Virginia. That's all. But go ahead. Next.
Are you good, Alan?
Yeah,
we're in 85, right?
We're in 85. I'm ready.
All right. Well, everybody get ready to drink.
Wait. Hey, Marty. Hey, Marty.
I thought you said you were done. Sorry. That was King.
That was
I'm sorry. Going pee threw me all off. I'm all out of whack here. Here we go.
His kidneys are acting funny.
Yeah.
Gotta have the iron bladder, man.
All right.
Only the demo's real. Okay, go ahead.
Everybody get ready to drink here in a minute.
It's going to happen. We know it's coming. We know it's coming. But no, and just to emphasize the point, as King said, fourth and last, no reflection at all. Oh, fuck, man. That shit.
Yeah.
That is, yes, one of the best moments on anything.
It is.
And yeah, I also agree with King. 85, I did not have as long a list of bangers to shout out, but there were definitely a couple. Agent Steel, Skeptic's Apocalypse has possibly the best
killer
side
fucking
of
record.
any album.
Love that record. That was in my ideas too for a silent killer. That's an amazing record.
Yep.
Side A of that can do no wrong whatsoever. It's so
Bleed
insane.
for the gods. Yep.
Overkill, Feel the Fire, just crazy.
Feel the Fire,
good
beautiful
album. Yes, love that album. Still love it to this day.
Feel the fire.
Blitz just sounds so fucked up evil on that album. I love it to death. But those didn't make it. And Marty, not to steal your thunder, but I got to go with Walls of Jericho here.
Yeah.
That's all right.
as much as I love those other 2 albums, this one is it's one of those albums sometimes, but I think, maybe I rank it too high. And then I look at the tracks and I play. I'm just like, every song on here I love to death. This is just, Kai's kind of, crazy, raspy voice, just, pure German speed metal hell from start to finish, but with these goofy songs and lyrics about pinball machines eating you and everything. You can't go wrong. So
that's all I remember you, Alan, when the old days of Lapland was like Halloween Maniac.
Absolutely. Yep. Love their 80s stuff. It's not going to be the last time I mention Halloween. We'll just go ahead and spoil that.
And
it's
just
going to
happen. Chime in. I never could get into Walls of Jericho. I just thought it was but I really liked the first, and I'm only a fan of Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1. That's it. Michael Kiske, that one, I'm Alive, the song, Halloween and all that.
Oh, yeah.
I love those. And that's all I could get into of any era of Halloween. It's weird.
Oh,
I don't know why, because I got nothing against them, but I just couldn't get into it.
If you're going to like one, Keeper's one is a good one to like. But for 1985, Walls of Jericho wins out for me. And it sounds like Marty might be on the same page here.
Yeah, coitus interruptus right now.
Care.
Yeah, whatever.
Something else, Alan.
Yeah, this one. I got this in a used bin, or not used bin, in a
trash can.
No. At Camelot Music. It was like I got it for like $1, brand new. It was an overstock or something. But this record blows me away still. Ride the Sky, come on, one of the best speed / power metal German songs ever. I mean, the whole album's perfect. Alan has nailed it. I love it. I love the self-titled. I love Judas that came after this. It's just the Kai Hansen era is special. It just is. It's when they were their most speed metal. They rewrote themselves a bit when Kiske joined, but for the better. I think for the better. I don't know. I don't know how many more after 2 EPs and the full length, how much more of this, would have went, but they did the right move. One of my favorite bands. Love it. Everybody drink.
Right on.
That was, and a close sec. I had it in my hand. Feel the Fire by Overkill. That is my all-time favorite Overkill album. That thing is, to this day,
it's a great record. Great tour.
Record.
They blew Slayer off the stage on that tour on Rain and Blood. They were still promoting that. No Taking Over was just about to come out.
Yep.
We seen them so many fucking times then. They were so good then, man. That's the real Overkill for me.
Yep. So good.
Yeah. I was about half convinced you would take Overkill over Walls, Marty. I wasn't sure how that would go.
No, I listened to them both about the same, but I'm a big I love Halloween. Great band. I love the speed metal elements to it. Overkill was a little bit more punky, which I liked, but I don't know. I gotta go with Halloween. Anyway.
And if I'm keeping score right, is that our third match? Like, you guys both like Don't Break the Oath together. Yep. And I know me and Alan like Mob Rules together. What was the other one?
And this one. Yep, you're right, King. That's three times we've lined up.
That's pretty cool. Out of all the metal records, so we're all from the same pool. Just some of us are in the deeper end.
I can't swim for shit, so I'm going to be in with the kids going, "Hey guys, don't go too deep. It's dangerous."
Somebody get him a snorkel.
Marty's got the cold lake floaties on his arm.
Yeah. Floaties. That's awesome.
Water wings.
All right. Water wings. 1986.
Here we go with the three-headed monster. This was this fucker here. Man, this is hard as fuck still, but I got to go where I'm going to go. I'm going to just do the countdown. At number 3, the greatest thrash metal record ever written, in my opinion, Power and Pain, Whiplash. That record is perfect. That's the best thrash record ever written.
You're not wrong.
Amazing record.
You're not wrong.
It's not like all this bullshit when people call Metallica thrash and Megadeth and they have these pussy shit. These dudes turn it on, they light their nuts on fire, and they just play it to the ball.
That's
Only
awesome.
On that record, though, they eventually did the same shit the other guys did.
Yeah.
They just sucked. Then number 2, this band, possibly, I'm juggling on this, but possibly their best record and one of the coolest records ever. And number 2 is Rage for Order, Queensryche. Rage for Order they look the dumbest shit anybody's ever looked at this planet.
It's bad.
Rocky Horror people laughing at them. But you put the record on, recorded on 156 tracks. That record was.
That's so
doctored
stupid.
Together like 7 boards, and
Stupid.
they put that thing. And Jeff Tate showed how good a singer he was. He's an asshole these days, but that motherfucker and the stuff they were arranging, it was ahead of its time.
He's probably always been an asshole.
And all these bands, then you guys were. I saw people down here saying Halloween set the tone. Queensryche set the tone here because then a lot of bands all of a sudden were like, we got to get weirder. We got to get deeper in this shit. We better start listening to Kansas and fucking, King Crimson and all that shit. But they did a perfect thing of it. But it still goes into number 2 because at number 1, I had to piss fucking Marty off. And truthfully, Black Sabbath 7 Star. Black Sabbath 7 Star. One of the greatest
you made that change at the end.
Albums ever made. Tony Iommi, I don't give a fuck what they call it. They could call it Marty shit himself. I'd have bought it. Halloween, I'd have bought it.
That's the scratch and sniff edition.
Glenn Hughes and Tony Iommi together on that record at a time when fucking everything in the world was play as fast as you can, and I loved it. But I was listening to Obsessed by Cruelty and this record over and over and over and over. And I swear this was the biggest influence on Deceased that time, and maybe the Bad Brains. Those were the ones, but 7 Star, it's perfect. Unfortunately, it's not that long a record, but man, what a fucking album. This tour, sadly, we caught him with Ray Gillen. He was already out, Glenn Hughes, and it was a mess. But the record, I play it to this day, and I just sit back. I just love it. Eric Singer plays great. The production's great. I don't care if it's not Sabbath, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I worship it. And Marty doesn't, and I understand. But one day you will, my friend.
I have the record. I got rid of the Abominog, but I kept the Sabbath one just to.
And going back, it's
see.
Like I said, I think my all-time favorite music is British hard rock.
Because like the Tony Martin
on there, and there's all kinds of stuff. But Tony Iommi's my favorite guitar player. It's just something about it. So 7 Star for me.
I hated the Tony Martin era too, but I kept some of the records, and I go back, circle around to them. Like I like it now. So I mean, it's amazing how taste change. Yep.
That's for me. 7 Star. I'll stand alone.
All right, Alan.
It's still haunting. Gotta know that's cool. A cool underappreciated pick, King.
In memory.
You're the one who recommended that album to me. I had never checked it out.
He recommended it to me too, and I bought him like this motherfucker.
One of us got it right, and one of us got it wrong.
Sorry, it didn't sound like Joy Division.
Maybe next time.
Yeah,
maybe next
time.
It ain't for everybody, but sometimes as you get older, something you'll be like, you know what? I went back and I loved it. It might happen. It might not. I apologize. I'm sure it was $1.04.
Oh, it was like $7. I mean, I kept it. It. Like I said, I'll circle back around to it. Anyway.
Yeah. No. I love that album to death. It clicked with me right away when I heard it. But yeah, for me, is the most congested year. This was the hardest one to try to figure out who to pick. And King mentioned, some of the big contenders. Folks in the chat have mentioned some of the other big ones. Slayer Rain and Blood deserves a shout out, but it is not my Slayer album. But it deserves mention. Master of Puppets deserves mention. I don't play that album much anymore, but I mean, it deserves a shout out here. Queensryche's Rage for Order, yes, that is a monstrously good album. People overlook it because they get stuck on Mindcrime, but that's great. Someone in the chat mentioned Candlemass, Epicus, Doomicus, Metallicus. That's a fantastic release from the album.
I like Torment and Fire down there that Jacob just said.
Yeah, good pick. Good pick.
Torment and Fire, Pleasure to Kill. This was
fast too.
Yeah,
this year was just really clogged up with great releases. There's another one I'm not going to mention that I have a feeling might be Marty's pick, so I'm not going to steal his thunder. At the end of the day, I decided I'd pick the album that I definitely go back to the most frequently, just because it's a very fun album. I feel it's kind of the band. I don't know. The band has different eras, but this is kind of my favorite from their early days. Someone else shouted it out in the chat. For 86, I went with Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? It's a very fun listen.
Come to me, King. Who's your favorite?
I'm having laptop issues.
King has to go now. I understand. Bonds have been broken and bridges have been burned.
Hey, to each their own. That's why you got your own name there, my friend.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, it's a crazy album. It's not a perfect album, but it's always been a very fun listen. I like Megadeth on this album. I like it more. The debut is good, but kind of thrown together, sloppy, and the follow up to this has its problems. This is right where I want them to be, in the early, drugged out, messed up, insane days. And again, any of those other albums, you can make a case they're better albums from '86. This is the one I definitely pull off the shelf most frequently out of all the albums I just mentioned from that year. So it's a lot of people consider '86 to be the highlight year for heavy metal. Some people will pick '84 as the one year that contends with it. But yeah, it was the year that was hardest for me to pick a winner. On this day in history, I'll pick Peace Cells, but who's buying? I will forego King's Love for at least this round, and we'll see what Marty went with, because like we've been saying, there's a lot of stuff to choose from here.
Is Alan done talking?
His lips are moving, but I don't understand what he's saying.
I don't hear it. Maybe that was good. It's got to be. It's an April 1.
All right. Well, for me,
Marty.
This is a three-headed monster for me too. I struggled real hard with this one. I carried around Master of Puppets. I just did. Big album for me. Fatal Portrait by King Diamond.
The only solo album I like by him. It actually sounds still good.
It sounds like Merciful Fate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Onslaught's The Force.
Good record.
Metal Church, The Dark. Somewhere in Time by Maiden.
Good record.
Pleasure to Kill was my first forever, but man, I'd have to kick my own ass if I didn't pick this one.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say it, but you had to.
Awaken the Guardian. This here is, man, they were their first three albums. Each album they're heading on a journey, and this is the culmination of that journey. I don't know if King agrees with me on that. I think you're more of a Spectre guy, but
I'm actually a Night on Brocken. I'm the opposite. This is my third favorite. Spectre's 2, and Night on Brocken's 1 for me.
Yep. Well, this for me is them at their most emotional. You got Exodus, you got Guardian, Sorceress. What a great! It felt like the Dunwich horror movie. It's just
it's beautiful. It's beautiful, man.
Like witch trials era. I mean, the lyrics, the vibe of the song, the atmosphere, and the production. Oh God, this album is just a mystical fucking beast for me, man. I love this thing. I never get sick of it. Yep, John sings a million fucking lyrics. He sandwiches them all in there, but just be patient and you absorb them. It's great. It's great.
I haven't finished Jeff Wagner's Fate's Warning book.
It's great.
Far enough to it. I mean, I have it. I literally just got to when they changed the name. But I did an interview years ago with Jim Matios, and he told me that third record is the reason he kicked John Arch out of the band. I don't know if he say that in the book, but he was like, he became too la 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 la. Everything was just goofy to him. He's like, he didn't have any stage presence and all that. And when I hear that record, I don't hear that. I mean, I hear a guy that's loading up vocals. It's unique as shit. It's almost like Merciful Fate out King Diamond was doing it, but with a real voice, a really good singing voice. So it was weird to me. And then one other thing, I want to see if either of you all remember this. This is some your channel trivia. We were talking about this last time I was on that record. What was the album's originally supposed to be called?
Prelude to Ruin.
There you go. Making sure you remember this.
I paid attention in King class.
You paid attention. Marty, he's my favorite again.
Well, about this point in the show, I'm half-ass drunk, so I don't remember shit. So I wasn't a good studier in school. I'm not now.
Alan, he's past Prelude to Ruin.
I'm in the Valley of the Dolls somewhere.
We've got Prelude to Run back to the pisser here in a few minutes for Marty.
No, Jim pissed me off. It's all the interviews, him slamming on this whole era and talking about the Ray Alder shit was superior. I used to get so pissed off, and it made me hate that Alder era even more. It just did.
That's
because
so hit or miss for me, that era. It really is.
Yeah. It's so pretentious and proggy, and if you like that shit, cool, but I struggle with it. Anyway, we could. Oh, and for those of you keeping score, Jeff Wagner is on his way through he's writing a Voivod book, so I don't know how far.
He's in the home
somebody in
stretch
the
on
book
it.
saw Voivod 56 times.
He's in it, so the
It
King's
wasn't
in it.
not me.
He will be coming back when that book drops. So we've already talked about it. Jeff will be back. Hopefully he fixes his tech because every
and
time
Jeff
he's on, his
Rules
tech
is a real
sucks.
deal. Love
Yep.
that guy.
Jeff rules, man. I love that guy. I'll
he's
always love Jeff Wagner for the opportunities he gave me. So
he looked out for deceased and he gave us opportunities. He's always been a good guy.
He's a great
I
dude.
don't know why he doesn't like Raven though. It must be the vocals. Okay.
A quick plug for Jeff and Hunter, if folks haven't noticed. Their Radical Research podcast recently started a Patreon page just so they can make a little money to help cover, expenses, tech and stuff. So if you enjoy that podcast regularly, and
it's a fun podcast.
Giving them, if you can give them $5 a month, head over to Patreon and check that out for them. They do amazing shows. They're both very busy guys and they still work that in. So, consider going over there and, throwing a few bucks their way. They're both great guys. And yes, Jeff's in the home stretch on the Voivod book, and Hunter should have the second issue of his Deserts of Hex, kind of prog metal music zine magazine out in the near future. The first issue is really, really interesting. So folks should keep an eye out for that when it drops too. He won't print many copies of it, so if you want it, buy it.
Support the underground. If you like the stuff, support it. I know we're all broken. Doritos are $7 a bag these days. Best you can, man.
I can forego a bag of Doritos to
I don't eat Doritos,
Jeff
but I see them. They're $7, man. I was like, that fucking bag of Doritos is $7. I remember it was $1.29 when he was asking what I was doing in 1980. I was pricing Doritos. That's what I was fucking doing. Support the underground best you can.
Yep.
Yeah,
Jeff Wagner
Psychic here in the comments gets it. Absolutely, Psychic Vacuum. Yeah, Hunter's a gem of a person.
We'll be getting them both back on again soon. Hunter's been on 3 times, Jeff a couple times. Love them. Also, coming up, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, King, you're back.
We're back to 87 now, eh?
We're on 1987.
This is easy. This wasn't a contest. I'm not even going to fucking waste everybody's time waiting to hear what I'm going to say. Killing Technology. One of the coolest records ever. Nothing else sounds like it. Voivod fucking shoots himself into outer space and they fucking went insane. And it's the coolest fucking greatest fucking moment ever in the history of fucking weird, cool, unique thrash. It's the one. If you don't like Killing Technology, you can't like Voivod. There's just nothing about it. I remember fucking, it was actually Pat from Hell Witch going, dude, the guy sings now. The guy's singing. It's like Mr. Roboto. It sounds like Mr. fucking Boto.
No, it doesn't.
And he was like, oh, come on, man. I was like, what, because they have a computer voice in there, too? They have something. I remember that shit was fucking hilarious, but fucking Killing Technology. Go listen to it. If anybody that's a Voivod fan listens to it all the time. There's nothing like it on earth. It's one of the best produced records ever. It's insane. It's intense. The band stepped to another level, which they were already ahead of the game. Piggy took the weirdest chords and made them weirder.
Yeah.
The fucking Snake started to twist his vocals around. They weren't just shouting anymore. He was actually mangling the microphone. Away's drums got weirder. The bass never sounded better from Blackie. Killing Technology.
Blower bass.
Blower bass.
Yeah. Love it.
Great
pick. All right. Alan.
Yeah, sorry, just trying to keep up with folks in the chat, making all kinds of great suggestions as well. Yeah, 87 has some great ones. Voivod is not my band, but I certainly wouldn't fault anybody for picking Killing Tech. It is a cool album. Even I'm dumb enough to know that Killing Tech, even I can figure out that Killing Tech is really, really cool. But let's see, what else came out in 87? A few that deserve mention: Testament, The Legacy, Sabotage, Hall of the Mountain King. Love that album by them. Candlemasses, Nightfall.
I know which one you're going to pick. If it isn't this, I'm going to be flipping over this table.
Yeah, this is. I've telegraphed this for like 4 years at this point. So it's Halloween Keeper of the Zone.
I didn't pick it because I knew you were gonna. So yeah,
they're best. They're best.
Yeah.
They're best. The only one
they're
I
best.
can listen to. What
it is still to this day. It's my favorite heavy metal album ever made. What else can I say?
I'm fine with that.
It's got to win 1987 because of that. Nothing else.
It's no Killing Technology, but it's a great record.
No, let's not say things we can't take back.
Now you can do it. La, 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 la.
Marty,
right.
He's being mean.
Okay,
Marty. So if you're not picking that, what are you picking?
Well, it was on my list, and also was Candlemass Nightfall, Killing Technology, Testament, The Legacy, another one of King's favorite bands. Persecution Mania, Abigail, Raging Steel by Death Row. Love that record.
Not bad.
But for what it brought forth, I had to pick this one. This is obviously a WNMC promo. And you know, I'm only here for the John Hand performance on this.
another trivia real quick. What's the John Hand story I told on this show?
Fuck, I don't remember. I know he didn't play on the album.
Old drummer from Slack Tide, my first band when I was 12. He moved to California. His roommate was John Hand.
No shit.
I told you on here. That. He was one of the only people that actually genuinely knew John Hand.
Well, this here is my favorite Death record. It just is. I love this record. Scream Bloody Gore, Baptized in Blood, Mutilation, Beyond the Unholy Grave.
That's my favorite Death song.
Oh, Jesus. It's just, this is a great, you know, Chris Reifert on drums, great drummer. I really don't know what to say other than this is the album that launched a million bands, really. Whether they're at the cusp of it, they're just lucky for the time they were at, I don't know. But this album, this era, it's the most raw, it's the most vicious, it's the most death metal. I like Leprosy as well, but not as much as this one. Spiritual Healing, they start to lose me a little bit. This here, though, this here is a great record, and it's one of my favorite Repka art as well. I'm not a huge Ed Repka fan. Here isn't a typical Ed Repka. Usually this would be the guy right up front and then all these other dudes in the background, but here it's a little bit different. But
when it came out, I liked some of it. I never was into that last demo. I've never been a big fan of like that, of like Mutilation or those songs. I'm big on the like Evil Dead, Beyond the Unholy Grave.
Oh, I love that song.
Those are the ones I love. Baptized in Blood. Those are my favorites. But when that record came out, I thought that Chuck kind of, I don't know if he was trying to so hard to be so intense, but it comes off like, and I don't mean this, me and Chuck had our differences. That's not a problem there, but I don't mean
a lot of people had their differences with Chuck.
A man that passed away, but it came off to me like a little kid's voice on the record. I didn't think it had this big sound to it. It sounded like a little guy, which he was, trying to make this big gorilla, big voice. And I just didn't get that. I didn't feel that. And it's weird because when Chris Reifert did Autopsy, I was always like, this is what I think Death needed to sound like. Maybe Chris should have sang those songs because I think some of the riffs are cool. I've never found Death as musically neat as most people think they are. I think a lot of it's throwaway. Starting with Leprosy, you know, stuff like Pull the Plug. I thought it was third gradish. You know how I think about Obituary and bands like that. I just don't find anything for me. But I was hoping they'd do more stuff like that. What were the bonus songs on the CD? I can't remember. It was
Beyond the Unholy Grave and
I think I was like,
man, Land of No Return. What the fuck was the name of it?
Because I was like, these songs needed to be on the record. These are better. I know Baptized in Blood is his first one on side 2, I think.
A million rehearsals. Here we go. Scream Bloody Gore. Oh, it just has the fucking. I don't know. I could go up. Let me go get the
No,
CD.
don't worry about it. Okay. I'm pretty sure you're right. I think it was
Beyond the Land of No Return. Land of No Return was another song, I think.
Yeah. That last demo with that and Zombie Ritual, I never really cared for that style. They were kind of, I don't know, something about it just didn't. It wasn't that intense to me. But back when the Cam Lee stuff or when he first left, I liked that era best or Death for me.
Yeah.
And I just thought that album was too produced. I thought the same thing about Strapato from Slaughter. I was like, man, the demo is better. And people say that all the time, but it really was for me.
Right.
But it's a good choice. You're right. It's a lot of people fell for it and loved it, and it changed a lot of shit.
Yeah, it changed a lot of shit for sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right, King, 1988. This is another banger fucking year, man.
Now, if I remember correctly, we did a show on 1988 last time I was on.
Did we?
And so this is easy if anybody listens then and remembers, because everybody was like, King's going to say Dimension Hatros. He's going to say Dimension Hatros. He loves fucking Voivod, blah, 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 blah. And the answer was Operation Mindcrime, and it still is. Operation Mindcrime is fucking a phenomenal record. I listened to it so much. It influenced the New Deceased, the concept, the continuation of tunes. There's not one moment on that record I don't love. I mean, even with his goofy, those hats they were on tour, I couldn't even hate him for that. It's so good a record. We got this record, and we were just so fucking blown away. We loved it, and I still love it. And then it makes me miss the old Queensrÿche. It makes me wish DeGarmo was still there and that Jeff Tate never became a fucking dog's dick, you know?
Well, like I said, I think he's always been a dog's dick and an asshole.
Yeah,
they just boiled to the surface with popularity.
That's easy for me. I don't even have a backup plan really for that one at all. I'm looking. I don't even see shit. There's a backup for that one. So that was easy. That was easy. Like Killing Technology was for 87, Operation Mindcrime was for 88.
Right on.
And I think Spreading the Disease is my favorite tune. I think could be Speak.
I'm late to Mindcrime, but I finally did get it. You know what that album reminded me of?
What's that?
King Diamond's Them. They have a similar vibe to them.
Remind you of what?
King Diamond Them.
Oh, okay.
From the same year.
See, for me, King Diamond Them doesn't have the hooks. Queensrÿche has the songs. DeGarmo was a master at that, and we all know when he left the band, it just fell apart. They couldn't write a fucking catchy song anymore. They had to turn to alternative, college rock, whatever the fuck that horrible shit was. You know, and they've never recovered. Not with the new guy. He can sing and he can sing high, but it's just not the same. And I feel for him because I like Michael Wilton. I like Eddie Jackson. I love Scott Rockenfield. He weirded out on them too. I don't know what happened to him, but they're one of my favorite bands. They had one of the best runs for me. The EP, The Warning, Rage for Order, Operation Mindcrime. Empire's the first time I had to let up. All those records to me are 100s to there. Empire, just some sappy shit. Never was into Silent Lucidity even then. I actually thought that Promised Land was a better record overall, even if it was a little bit more Seattle than it
I don't remember which album it came on, but the Jet City Woman, I always liked that song. Every time it came on the radio, I'm like, Empire. I said, it's a good fucking pop song. It's a good song.
Which one? Empire?
Jet City Woman. The song.
Yeah. See, that was one I didn't like. I thought Best
catchy.
I Can
it's catchy pop, but it's
I thought
good.
Best I Can was a better single for that one. But yeah, it was different then. But man, I loved them so much then, man. So for me, Operation Mindcrime.
All right. 1988 for Alan. Well, we're almost at the end here. Short night tonight, everybody.
Yep, we're getting towards the end of the decade. Yeah, 88 does have a lot of good stuff, and Mindcrime was penciled in. It was on the short list, the very, very short list. Other things to shout out. Bolt Thrower in Battle There Is No Law. Someone mentioned. Love that one. And there's not going to be a third Halloween here. Halloween Keeper 2, I do like that album a lot, but it is it's an honorable mention here.
Yeah. If you look the word up fruity, it'll be next to
it. Let's see. Iron Maiden, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I've had Maiden on the honorable mention list a lot, but there was not a year that Maiden got the top album for me. But Seventh Son, I really like that album. It's
that was third for me behind Dimension.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, Mindcrime is, I think, number 2 on my list. Death Leprosy, again, deserves a shout-out. It's not my favorite Death, but it's certainly not bad. The one for me, what beats Mindcrime? Now, I know King, again, is not a big fan of this particular era of this band. I'm a big fan of pretty much every era of this band, and a few folks have already called this shot in the chat. Thunder Steel by Riot. The band comes back after a several-year hiatus, new lineup, very different style here, and they're kind of playing a little more European style power metal, and they're doing it better than pretty much any European band ever did. Just amazing.
Did they beat Halloween at their own game on that one, you think?
In 1988 terms, yes. I picked this over Keeper Part 2. You have 7 straight songs on this album that are perfect. There are 7 tracks, 1 through 7 are perfect. That's the only flaw on this album. The last 2 tracks, it kind of winds down a little bit at the end, but you have 7 perfect songs in a row on Thundersteel. And that would be my pick for 88. It's hard not to pick Queensrÿche because, that one, someone mentioned in the chat a minute ago, you can make a really good case that's the best concept heavy metal album ever put together. I don't know if I'm going to argue that point at all. I'd take it over any of the King Diamond concept albums.
It was more thought out.
I'd have to think about it, but if it's not, it's right there on the top tier. That's my pick for 88. I'm guessing Marty's going to have something different than King or I, so let's see what he's got.
Well, 88 and 89 were both very tough, very tough. Honorable mentions, Holy Terror's Mind Wars. I love that record.
Great record.
Sadist Illusion, Chemical Exposure. Love that record.
Very good record.
Yep. Good
Punishment for Decadence by Coroner. God, love that record.
Never a corner guy.
Vocals are a little low in the mix, but I still dig it. Keepers 2, King Diamond Them, Sabbath's History of a Time to Come.
Great
A lot of bangers. But, man, one of my all-time favorite albums of all time.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Dimension
Marty pulls it
Hatros.
out, makes King look like an asshole.
Yeah, King. King, do you even voivod, bro? Whatever, poser. You sit there and think about it. This album to me is Voivod at their absolute perfection. They nailed it on this, and they nailed it, and they were never. I'm not going to say they were never this good again because they've put out really great records.
They've been as good.
They've been as good. The Wake is a great newer record. The latest one.
Yeah, the import record with Batman on it or no?
This one is
I've
a
got the
radio
Batman
promo.
CD,
This is there's no Batman on this one.
You call yourself a Voivod fan.
I've got the CD with the Batman cover, which I never really liked that cover.
Was it only
actually.
on the CD originally?
Well, it's on the European press.
Oh,
Was
the
it on the
vinyl?
European press for vinyl too? Okay.
This
I just
album
happened
is
to-
perfect. You want to talk about a fucking concept record? The whole idea of the whole song, of the whole concept, the lyrics, the story, the whole thing is so out there in outer space, man. It's so great. Tribal Convictions.
I want to interrupt you, but I will
Nope.
for 1 second just to let you know this. Again, when I was talking about the Voivod movie that just came out, We Are Connected, he breaks down the concept. They go into all the details about the Voivod as the albums go on. And when you see this, what you're talking about, how weird it is, coming out of Away's mouth, it makes sense,
Yep.
Snake and him getting together on it and stuff. So, yeah, I'm with you. Because you can only understand it as much as you can understand it. We're not Voivod, so we don't get in that headspace. But
Sure.
you're about to say, and I'll let you say it, it's a fucking weird fucking thing, man.
It's a weird thing, but it made it their own, and it made it so unique. And my favorite song on this album is Brain Scan. Always
Great
fucking
one.
worship
Love it,
that
too.
song. No sun for the gray children waiting to catch the strange airy notions of the place. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Macro Solutions to Mega Problems.
That might be my underdog.
So good. Tribal Convictions, of course, was the single. What a perfect record. This album, I look at the cover. The cover is iconic.
It is iconic.
The band, every album was a building block to this. Killing Technology was a glimpse of what was to come. I love Killing. I love it. But this year, to me, is them nailing it. They nailed the evolution right here. They stuck the landing. I wish they would have done another one like this. Nothing Face, I struggled initially. I ended up loving that record, but I wanted Dimension Hatros Part 2. I just did because I love this record so much. I've bought this record for friends that aren't Voivod fans. I'm like, here, I've bought them, send it to their house. Like, this is the one. This is the one. If you don't like this, you suck. You're dead to me type of stuff. But this year, wow. Voivod, my favorite. This is my Voivod. This is my Voivod.
Right on. Hey, that's 100 out for me, too. They talk about how Phobos was supposed to be Dimension Hatros, too, when they had Eric in the band.
Yeah.
And it was just like they said that thing. They couldn't give it away when it came out.
The thing that's really sad is that album fucking rules. It is really good. People poo-poo the Eric era. It's great. I like both of the records.
When people see this movie, you're going to see how it actually fell into place, how everything was. And, I was going to tell you earlier something I learned. I didn't know, so I never asked. But Voivod, the first time they ever got together was Snake and everybody in the room. And the first song they ever played together was Prowler from Iron Maiden.
Really?
And the Ripper from Priest. Those were the two they did. And they all said, he can't sing at all, but man, for some reason, he reminds me of Johnny Rotten, and he's in. And that's how it all happened. But when you were talking Iron Maiden an hour ago, the first album, I was thinking that. But yeah, it's a brilliant record, and I'm with you, brother.
It's really amazing listening to Dimension Hatros how far that band came, because you listen to their demos, there's like Merciful Fate and Venom covers. It's like they're like a weird punk metal conglomeration that does like all these strange covers and
yeah, another thing they talk about here is Snake's, like people were turning him on to Joy Division and the Cure and stuff like that. So he was like, I don't always have to scream and blow my voice out. I can do weird stuff and weird noises and different types of vocals to make it weird. And if really Killing Technology started that, but he was still kind of straightforward. This is the one, like you were singing Brain Scan, like he goes weird,
Yep. Love it. What a great fucking record. I love it.
Perfect.
I was so pissed when Angel Rat dropped. I like Nothing Face. Angel Rat, I had to give up. I had to give up for a while because that record pissed me off. Wait till you
see the movie, because they interviewed me in the movie, and wait till you see when I talk about Angel Rat.
Oh yeah, well Wagner's like, dude, you need to revisit. That's like that's my favorite Voivod record. I'm like,
it's the darkest Voivod album they ever did.
I like it now. It finally clicked with me, but at the time I was hurt. I was pissed. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
You weren't alone. People were like, oh man, it's just too rock and roll now.
Too rockin', too proggy. It was like, I don't get it.
They hibernated on purpose. They hibernated the Voivod, they say in the movie, just so they could just do that. I mean, they were really high. They were really fucked up on drugs, man. For a while. I remember Piggy told me, he's like, man, we would just go and hang out and smoke weed and listen to Grand Funk all day. That's where they were at the time. But I mean, that's just their headspace, and it influenced them. And that's you can't knock a musician. They weren't trying to go anywhere. I mean, they weren't going to become Jane's Addiction or fucking, the bands they took out with Nothing Face, Faith No More, and fucking Soundgarden. They weren't going to go that route. I mean, go back. I mean, go back and listen how weird it really fucking is, man.
It is. Yeah. Clouds in My House, or what a great song.
They did that called Yank It or Crank It on MTV when it came out. I was like, oh God, Voivod's out here. Please don't let them become the new Faith No More. They played it. People were like, 8% liked it. They were like, it's terrible. The singer's awful. And I was like, thank you so fucking much. Leave Voivod to the Voivodians, the Morgothians.
It's really funny you mentioned Faith No More, because the only time I've seen Voivod was with Faith No More and Soundgarden on the Nothing Face tour.
I followed all those tours forever, and I can't stand those bands, and I had to sit through them a lot of times, man.
Yep, and actually Soundgarden blew. I mean, Detroit came out for Soundgarden. I mean, the place was packed. As soon as Soundgarden was done, the place emptied out. There was myself and 15 other people watching Voivod. I was there for Voivod.
I'm not for Voivod's sake, but as it should be. The real Voivodians.
They always been on weird tours, man. They've never picked a tour that really suited them. It's always they're out to go with whoever.
Awkward. They can go out with anybody. They've gone out with Creator many times. They've gone out with Sepultura and all that kind of shit. Then they'll go out with, what was that band, Yob and all this shit.
Yep. Yep.
I'm just there for Voivod. Whoever plays, just get the fuck out of my way with Voivod. That's all I gotta say, man.
Right. All right. Well, we got a little tangent there. Sorry. King, we are in our final year of the 80s, 1989, the year I graduated high school. Oops, that's not King. That's me. There you go.
This is an easy one.
No, it kind of was.
Nothing Face. It's weird because, I mean, Voivod has won a few of these for me. Nothing Face is brilliant. I love it so much. But there's a special record, and it just keeps coming back to, I guess, I'm just in love with this man's guitar playing. It's got to be Headless Cross. It's got to be Headless Cross. Nobody was listening to Sabbath. Nobody was. I went down to Sam Goody's in Georgetown, and they didn't even have it on vinyl or CD. They had one cassette. They were on IRS Metal. They had one cassette in there, and they wanted like $16 for it. You're talking 1989. It was insanely high. And I said, you know what? Fuck this. I had used to work at a place called Waxy Maxie's. I knew how to pop the tapes out of the traps, the little plastic things they were in. I popped it out, put it back, put the tape in my pocket, walked outside. It was with a guy named Doug Butane Martin. We got in the car. It came on. I was in love with it. He goes, dude, this is Sabbath. This sucks. I'm like, this is fucking incredible, dude. Get out and walk, motherfucker. And I just fell in love with Tony Martin's fucking voice. He'd already done The Eternal Idol, which was fucking fantastic. But this one, I was like, oh my God. So I just sat there, and I think I literally did drop him off home and just drive around listening to that tape and then playing it for everybody else. And our group of Black Sabbath guys loved it. And the story was, and this is a true story, they were coming in concert with fucking Silent Rage and Kingdom Come at the Pavilion. And I kept seeing in magazines like Sabbath tour is going to be halted poor ticket sales, blah, blah, blah. But they went on sale anyway. And so we went down there, and I was like, ain't going to be nobody in line for Sabbath. We're going to spend the night and get front row tickets. It's going to be easy as shit. We get down there, there's a line of 100 people. We're like, holy shit. And we're in line, and I'm like, this is fucked up. And then I look, and I'm like, yeah. And somebody says, I can't wait to get those new order tickets in the morning. I'm like, what the fuck? This is new order. So I walked to the front in my quick thinking of thrash speed metal mind. I said, y'all know we're first in line. We've been here since 2:00, and we had made a little paper with our names on it for Sabbath tickets. And they're like, you can go first for Sabbath. We're all here for new order. I'm like, okay, as long as you know when that door opens at 9:00 in the morning, we're first in fucking line. So we went from like 103rd in line to front in line. We stayed out there all night. We got second row tickets to the show.
Holy shit.
When it came to the show, we went there. There was less than 800 people in a 13,000 seat pavilion. It was less than 800 people that paid to get in this thing.
Sabbath couldn't buy a vowel at that time.
Silent Rage had been kicked off the tour by then. It was just them and Kingdom Come. Kingdom Come played. My girlfriend at the time, which was my son's mother, she was 9 months pregnant. I brought a tape recorder. I recorded the whole concert, and I kept singing to her belly, to my baby son in her belly, just, devil and daughter. I'm just fucking singing, and I had the tape, so it was over. The tour canceled, I want to say 4 days later. You could probably go to set list and find the exact time it canceled out, but we saw it. It was fucking great. So years later, I gave this tape to a friend of mine, and he gave it to some tape traders. And then one time I was at a record convention, and there it is, Black Sabbath, recorded live, 1989, Headless Cross, Merriweather Post. And somebody had bootlegged the CD of it, and it's there, and there's me. You hear me singing to my fucking kid on the fucking thing. And I'm like, yeah. But I love that record. Every time I play it, man, I drive around the neighborhood. I'll put it on my car, and I'll just drive it. Devil and Daughter is my track. But it's so fucking great, man. I love Tony Martin era Sabbath so much, and that's my favorite one, and that's my favorite record of 1989.
Right on. Great one. Great pick. Alan, 1989.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That the Tony Martin stuff is always underappreciated, and yeah, that's got to be the best one Martin's on. That's my knee-jerk reaction. Let's see, 89. Okay, this was an easy one for me, but there are some things that deserve shout-outs, and some folks in the chat have mentioned several of these. Tony mentioned Wasp Headless Children. Like that one by them a lot. Also, Running Wild, Death Through Glory. One of their best albums comes out that year. But, yeah.
Mob Rules, Jay. Sorry, Alan.
Oh, no, it's all good. Yeah, the one for me for 89, and several folks in the chat have also already picked it. It's Overkill, Years of Decay. Overkill made two near perfect albums. Feel the Fire was one, and this was the other. Everything about this album, it works for me. This was kind of the perfect thrash soundtrack to my teenage years. It was one of the first kind of quote unquote real heavy metal albums I ever got. I still know it almost word for word to this day. Again, Bliss just sounds angry and pissed, like he really just wants to stab you with something sharp for no particular reason other than he doesn't like you, and he doesn't even need a reason for not liking you. And and even the strange, the big slow doomy 10-minute Playing with Spider Skull Crusher song. It doesn't fit with anything they had really done before, but it's crushingly good.
In some ways, does it remind you of The Answer from the EP? A little bit.
It kind of does, a little bit.
They would do a Sabbathy tune, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they could do a Sabbathy tune, exactly. So yeah, I've said before, Behind Keeper Part 1, this is probably my second favorite album of all time. And just
I'm with you on that. I love it too. Two things. They really went to shit for was Under the Influence. The one that was the one before it was so anthraxy, man.
It was not a good record.
It has a few good songs, but yeah, it's trouble.
But it was fantastic. It was a great follow-up to Feel the Fire. It was still intense, but the third one just had so much anthrax to it that shit was weird. Yeah. This was a great comeback. My only complaint on this one is the production is too dry. It's very tight, and there's no echo to it, but the songs are great, man. It was a great tour. That's a great fucking the title track is. I love the chorus on it. The big Saxon hey kind of thing at the end of the Years of Decay. It's great. Good choice. I like that. I actually forgot about that one. I love Anthem Hunting Time down there. Somebody's saying Japan's fucking great, man.
Mm-hmm.
Good choice, Alan.
Thank you. Marty, wrap this up here. What is your pick to close out the decade?
Well, this is
I think I know what you got.
This wasn't a rough choice, but still, I mean, I'm looking Beneath the Remains. I spun a lot. Symphonies of Sickness by Carcass. No More Color by Coroner. Altars of Madness. Consuming Impulse by Pestilence. Severed Survival. Years of Decay. World Downfall by Terrorizer. But another top 10 favorite for me.
Yep. Okay. There it is.
Damn good record for a major label, especially.
God, for a major label, the cover. I remember seeing the cover of this in the store. I'm like, what the fuck is this all about? After this, the mascot on all the album covers, we get this. But man,
yeah, that cover does not win any prizes.
In hindsight, it works. I mean,
but you guys remember the original cover ended up on the T-shirt. They wouldn't allow it.
Yeah,
it's the T-shirt you see of that tour with the creature ripping itself up.
Yep.
That was the original artwork, and it was at Epic Records wouldn't allow it.
Yep. This to me is Creator. They dialed in the savagery that is Pleasure to Kill. I love that. That was like on my list for a minute to be that number one for that year. It's still that day. That album rules. They Terrible Certainty I like, but it's kind of a transitional record. There's some stuff on there that I don't love.
Too Bay Area for me. Too Bay Area.
But this here, I don't know. This thing really is social, political. Milla is very conscientious, forward-thinking man of the world. And a lot of really great lyrics on here, but the riffing and the songwriting on here, I love it. I love this album. I could still put this on, air guitar the whole damn thing, and feel like I'm, driving my piece of shit GMC Jimmy to school every day, cranking this fucking tape. It teleports me back in time, and, we got Betrayer, Love Us or Hate Us, Extreme Aggressions. What a great leadoff song.
The only one for me, what the dragger was Some Pain Will Last. That's the only one that brings that record down for me. It's too long, and it doesn't really go anywhere, but the rest of it is smoking, like you're saying.
Man, it rips for me. And
thank you.
Bringer of Torture. Yep. Fatal Energy. Don't Trust. Betrayer, of course. That was the video for the album. Yeah, I don't know. This was so good. Coma Souls came out. I liked it. I didn't love it. It seemed like
smoothed them out. They were losing it.
They're starting to get tired. And still some good songs on that one. But thank you again, Alan, for picking me up this OG press of this. That was very kind of you. I appreciate it.
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah.
Hey.
But love it. One of my top 10 favorites, right up there with Awaken the Guardian and Dimension Hatros. So yeah, there we go. The 80s.
Hey, we're the 80s.
We're the 80s.
You notice one thing? There's one thing I noticed out of the gate. Not one thing with a fucking female on it. That's weird because I love. I mean, Black Lace Unlaced is one of my favorite records of the fucking 80s.
There's some Holy Moses records in this.
Moses, Detente. Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking of some bands, man.
Sentinel Beast, yeah.
And then the Go-Go's. If it really was, I mean, Beauty and the Beat was one of my favorite records of all time, but it's still not going to beat any of these. And I didn't even know if we could step outside the genre.
Oh yeah, we didn't really go there, but we could have. I mean,
we really checked it out, which is fair.
This is something I noticed. I was going on. I was like, is there anything there with a female singer? No.
Yep.
We all love that. I mean, we're not against that in any way.
No, I'm picky when it comes to lady singers, but
I love female singing. We actually almost had a girl sing for Deceased in '86.
Really?
Yeah. She went on to be an actress. She's actually in Phantasm 5, the bad one, the Ravager. She was the one that Reggie picks up, a girl named Dawn. She was a crazy pitmonger back in the day. She's also in the movie Pleasantville. She's an actress. But she was crazy. She used to get in the pit and knock people fucking out, man.
Brutal chick. Brutal.
Dawn Cody. She's somewhere related to what's the gunfighter guy, Cody? The old timey somebody knows on there. Wild Bill Cody, is that his name? Hickok?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
One of these people, I don't know who it is, but I don't know. I don't talk to her anymore. She moved away and she doesn't knock people out in the pit anymore, man.
No.
But yeah, it's just I noticed that. I guess for the most part, England took it right for most of this stuff.
I was just looking at that. The UK like we said, all three of us picked British albums for 1980, 1981, and 1982. So it was a 9-0 start for
Yeah,
the
Warlord
UK.
was the first breaking it up.
Yeah, but after
You were right
that,
behind me
after
with the yellow
82, after 1982, we only named 3 more British albums.
And it was Sabbath with me, right?
And two of them were the Sabbaths, Seventh Star and Headless Cross. So yeah, the UK really owned the first few years of days. After that, we moved out, and it's kind of a mixture. There, obviously, I think the US has more than anyone else in those later years, but there's several Canadians, several German, a few different ones here and there with Merciful Fate and such. Some Germans, of course, if I didn't say that. But yeah, the UK owned the first 3 years of the decade, and after that they didn't come up a whole lot. But we mentioned a lot of their stuff in honorable mentions. It's not like the bands weren't doing good albums, but they didn't take the top spots after that.
No one showed any Priest, Jeremy.
Sorry, Marty.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I saw a guy down here mentioned Bill Samus, Lordy and Guard with his wife. It's great stuff. That was a drum machine. Me and Bill actually talked about me playing drums for them on their album back then on that Lordy and Guard stuff, which was basically Warlord songs sang with a female voice.
And a couple new songs here and there. It sounded like it was done in their bedroom.
It was cheap, but it was very, I mean, that guy was one of the most underrated guitar players.
He was a riff machine.
Him and probably the what's his name from Jeff Marks from Wild Dogs, two of the most underrated players that never, could have been an Aussie. Let's just say that.
Yeah. No Motorhead albums got mentioned either, just in terms of big name bands.
I'm not the world's biggest Motorhead fan. I saw somebody post Another Perfect Day. That's my favorite Motorhead.
That's my favorite Motorhead too. I love that record.
I can listen to Motorhead all day, but I mean, their albums aren't going to make the top. My favorite band of all time is Iron Maiden, and not one of them made it. You probably have to go into something later where it was really bad for most stuff, and I might pick like Fear of the Dark one year when there was very little stuff on the table.
Yep. Yeah, I had a lot of Maiden in honorable mention. I think I had Maiden as an honorable mention more than any other band, but they never quite got the call tonight for me.
What year? No Prayer for the Dying was 90 because I actually got I saw the tour. I got the tapestry on my wall here. So
I'll be right back. I have Pete.
We left off at Seventh Son would have been the last 80s one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, Seventh Son would have been No Prayer, and then because Fear of the Dark would have been early 92, late 91.
I think it's 92 because this tapestry says 90, 91, No Prayer for the Dying to Iron Maiden on it. It's a scarf.
Yeah, I'm double.
Who knows?
Yeah. Fear of the Dark. Let's see. Fear of the Dark was spring 92.
There you go. That sounds right to me.
Yep. Yeah, I knew it was right there, kind of late high school era for me. But so some big names didn't quite get there, but. Actually, it's pretty interesting, like you said, and I don't think we ever picked another duplicate. So after you pointed out, we had 3 albums that kind of got paired up early on, King. But later in the decade, things we didn't do that again. Things got kind of a bit.
I mean, every record that was picked, minus Peace Sells for me, which I couldn't listen to on if it was the only record in the world I couldn't listen. I just can't stand that.
That's okay.
I think that might have been the only one. Was there anything else that was picked that I hated? That Marty didn't say. Marty never picked anything crazy like that, did he? I mean, I can listen to Wall of Jericho. I'm not a big fan, but I can listen to it. I can't listen to Pete Sells.
Yep. No, I don't.
Was there anything that I picked or Marty picked that you couldn't listen to if you had to?
I don't think so. The only one I see now, Marty's not big on Abominog or Seventh Star, so those two he would give the thumbs down, I think. But I typed out the list as we were going. No, there's nothing on here. Yeah, there's some I like better than others, of course, but there's nothing I'd be like, oh, what the hell are you thinking putting that on the list?
We were just saying if there was records on here that you really couldn't listen to, and for me, it was just Peace Sells. I mean, I'm not a big Walls of Jericho guy, but I can listen to it. Doesn't bother me. Peace Sells would literally be like, take that off there. I'm gonna punch you. Like for you, Uriah Heep and Abominog. You're like, dude, goofy ass shit off my.
I know. I would listen to it, but it was funny when I bought it. I listened to the first song. I'm like, yeah, right on. And then the second and third song, I'm like, what the fuck, gang? Really? Yep. I wasn't expecting it. That cover, it looks so demonic and cool. You put it on, it's like a wimpy ass shit. I'm like, what the fuck?
About every third song is pretty damn heavy, but there's some stuff that's like Foreigner heavy, It's like Double Vision kind of stuff, which I love. Which I just saw. I just saw Foreigner and Styx 2 nights ago And they were fucking incredible, and they're in their 60s, and they were great. That's my last concert. What's your last concert, Marty?
We played a show in Kentucky with Panopticon. I guess that would be the last concert I went to. I played it.
Oh, yeah. How'd that go? Kentucky still rocking?
There was over 600 people there. We packed the place. It wasn't us. It was Panopticon packed the place, but we played. It was fun.
How about you, Alan? You get out to any shows or no?
Not many these days. I was actually going to go see Horrendous and Tomb Mold on Tuesday night, but I've been sneezing and coughing my head off most of this week, so I did not get.
It's a rough world out there right now, man.
Yeah, they changed the venue at the last second, and I wasn't familiar with the place they changed it to, and it just felt shitty. The weather was shitty. I'm just like, oh, fuck this. I'm not going to drive downtown, try to find this damn place, and then just stand there coughing and sneezing my head off for 3 hours. So yeah, kind of bummed. I was looking forward to checking out, because it's been a couple years since I've been to a show. There's not a whole lot that comes to this area in the first place. David asked a good question.
Yeah, I see that. I was thinking the same thing. And that puts me in a fucking spot, because Uriah Heep's my favorite album of all time, so I automatically have to go there. But I don't know.
You had to choose one out of the number ones for the whole decade.
Keeper Part 1 is my favorite album of all time, so it's an easy one for me.
It's Keeper of the Seven Keys.
It's my favorite album of all time.
Okay. And yours, Marty?
I'd have to go with Guardian. Waking the Guardian.
And for me, like, Uriah Heep's my favorite record, but one of the reasons it's my favorite is because I get everything I love about a record on a record. See what I'm saying? Like, I love heavy metal. I love hard rock. I love pop sensibility, like I said earlier. Mm-hmm. But if I really was going to just take one of these records right now and just blast it, it would probably be, man, I don't know. It might be Mob Rules.
Huh. Such a great fucking record.
Hard to pick.
I mean, you know, and I know you guys have this too. There's certain records that just stay with you because it's such an important part of your life. Like, sometimes a record's not as good as you remember, but the memories of that moment you heard it are. And it kind of comes together as one big entity. I got people that are like, you know, I never really was big on Triumph, but something about their music sends me to a place I was when I was 15, and I like being there when I hear it. But they're like, I'm not saying I love Triumph, but I love hearing it to have that memory.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, so Crocus Headhunter didn't win any awards. Slick It Up didn't win any awards. And these are good records.
They're good records.
We didn't welcome anybody to the jungle.
Power of the Night, maybe one of the best heavy metal records on a major label ever.
Which one?
Sabotage. Power of the Night.
Oh,
that's a cool album. Yep.
That was another topic I wanted to talk about when you were asking the other day, Mike. I was going to say, how about heavy metal records on the best heavy metal records on major labels of all time?
That would be a good topic to revisit. Yeah,
save it, King. Save it. Next time, maybe next time. So keep that in your fucking arsenal, in your brain crypt up there.
The cry from the crypt.
We can spend 30 minutes on Manowar, Kings of Metal, just for King.
There you go. Hilarious. Joey DeMeo's glass eye. Roll that mother.
I mentioned him, Simon. So yeah. I mentioned it.
I was a little surprised. I thought you might have been your 89 pick, but then the Creator. Yeah.
No, Creator. I listened to the year of 89 when that came out. That's all I fucking listened to over and over and over and over and over and over again.
So many good records, like I said, but I had to make it. Like, I love the first song all the way through. There's no fast forwarding. Not this. Like, that's one reason Creator would drop for me. I love that record, but I can't listen to Some Pain Will Last. Just Some Pain Will Last over and over.
So which year did each of you think was had the weakest list to choose from? Yeah, we talked about a lot of years were very loaded and hard to choose. Which year did you look at and just
threw my list away? God damn it!
Well, yeah, that show is not over.
It might be 85. It might be 85.
85. Yeah,
85 or 87
for
me. I'm looking.
Hold on. The one I had was, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No. I have to look it up. So, go ahead.
For me, it would be 81 or 82. Kind of had the shortest lists.
I'll
admit, if If the Witchfinder General had been in any other year, it would not have won the year.
I mean, come on, you got Raven. We didn't even talk about Raven records. Like Wiped Out's my favorite new wave British metal. You didn't bring up the second Witchfinder General.
Nope, it didn't come up for 83. Yeah. But yeah, looking, you know,
there
82
there's so many of those. And I've seen people like, for me, like stuff like On Through the Night, High and Dry, even Pyromania. I like those records, but they're not perfect. They're not the best record of the year for me. There's always something. Like for me, I love Screamer for Vengeance. Like Marty said, like, oh, it's great, but it's not perfect for him. For me, the only really let up on that record is Pain and Pleasure. I love it. I Take These Chains. Some people don't like that. I love that song. I think it's great, but you know, it is what it is. But and then there's other records that are like, I love them, but I'm like, man, there's always something in there. Like Number of the Beast. I'm just not big on Run to the Hills, man.
Yep.
I like it better on live. And like you guys, I'm sure there's records you want to like more, like Awaken the Guardian for me. I like it. I really, really like it, but it just sometimes it's long tooth and I can't listen to it all the way through. It's not like I can just sit there and let it go. But Marty, on the other hand, is his favorite record of the whole decade. So.
I get all weepy-eyed like a bitch.
There you go. And that Killing Technology, you can just play it for the rest of the time, and I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's some, and then Jag Panzer, which I still feel bad for some of these runner-ups.
Yeah,
Group's second record is my second favorite record of all time, but it couldn't fucking beat Mob Rules.
Jag Panzer would have won 8 out of the 10 years, and it just fell in one of the years it couldn't win. I think 81 is the weakest for me because looking at it, you know, I picked Mob Rules, Iron Maiden Killers, a fine choice.
Are you a Diary of a Madman fan?
Sorry, what, King?
Are you a Diary of a Madman fan?
Oh yeah, me. Yeah.
I have nothing against it. I never really listened to Ozzy's solo stuff.
Okay. What about
That's
BOC?
good.
What about BOC, Fire of Unknown Origin?
Good album. It could be on the honorable mentions list, but it just wouldn't be album of the year material. So yeah, the only ones I had listed were Killers, Black Metal, and Mob Rules, and Mob Rules was the easy winner. And looking at what else we picked, I mean, you also picked Mob Rules, and Marty picked Killers. So it feels like maybe 81 was a year that was just a little lighter.
Mob Rules was in the fucking discussion. I just didn't listen to it when I was that age. I only had Killers, so.
Okay, let me here's one more thing. I'll throw this out there. So if we were really doing this, what we were actually listening to in some of these earlier years,
which I did,
what would it have been?
Star Wars: The Ewoks cartoon soundtrack. We are the
What was that? Miko? Is that Miko? Is that what they were called?
Ewoks.
What was that band called that did that? It was called Miko, right? They did the whole Star Wars album. That kind of shit.
Fuck, I don't know.
Oh, no idea. Max Rebo, Cy Snoodles, and
I think it was MECO, Miko. I think it was. What were you listening to, Marty?
For what year?
For like 80, 81. When you were like, how old were you? 6, 7? But how old were you?
I was 81. I was 10. I was listening to a lot of Kiss and Iron Maiden.
Okay, so
I was 6, and I was listening to my dad's classic, 50s rock collection. I was listening to Elvis Presley and Carl Perkins, and
I love that too, man. Yeah. I would listen to anything I could get my hands on. My mom's old records, the Shirelles, the Supremes, the Dixie.
Same for me.
All that stuff.
My parents had a full bar in the basement, and he had an 8-track machine down there. I'd go down with my dad's Chris Christopherson, Rita Coolidge albums, and fucking
all the K-Tel records.
Yep, Neil Diamond, Kenny Rogers, Tom T. Hall, all that shit. I would sing along with it. Mac Davis. But then I had my Kiss. Dad said, you saw Kiss on TV and you just wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. So we had to go buy you one just to shut you up.
Beach Baby was my favorite. I did this the other day. Beach Baby was my favorite song in 2nd grade. In 3rd grade, my favorite song was Holiday from Sean Cassidy.
Yep.
4th grade, I think it was Deep Purple from Donnie and Marie. And then it was Detroit Rock City. And there you go. And then I'm on my way. Then it's all of a sudden it's Atomic
The rest
Punk,
is history.
It's Barracuda. It's Heartbreaker. It's fucking Cat Scratch Fever. Then it's fucking Heading Out to the Highway. And Children of the Damned. So.
Kiss Alive for me. My grandma bought me that record, and we'd sit and play rummy and listen to Kiss Alive on. You remember the stereos that were like a piece of furniture? You lift up the center thing, there's record in the center.
Pounds and shit.
Yeah, 5,000 pounds, and
that's how I used to listen to Frost and Fire, Earth and Gold. It's the only stereo in the house that had a needle on it.
Right.
Yeah, I remember those. They were nice pieces of furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think my least the year on here that I have the least amount of shit wrote down was 85.
That's me too. I'm looking real quick.
I had Feel the Fire and Walls of Jericho, and there's other shit that I loved, but those were the two definitive. It was either this one or this one are my favorites for the year.
Yeah.
Whereas
the only
other
other ones I
ones
had. Sorry, Marty. Yeah, the only other ones I had for 85 were Skeptics Apocalypse and the first Pentagram self-titled album.
Sean, you're right. Those old furniture stereos had a great deep sound, but grandmas and moms and dads don't know shit about needle maintenance, and then they let their fucking kid drop the fucking needle on their Kiss records.
That's right.
Oops.
Or we didn't have a needle when I bought my first record, which was Rock and Roll Over, so I had to buy it on cassette because my mom's like, "There's no needle at home." And then we back then you could buy these little plastic ones in Zare or Montgomery Wards that were like $2.49, and you put it on there, and they would give you like a rubber band to hold it on. It didn't even clip in if you had a real cartridge. Most of them back then didn't. The shit I could afford didn't.
Yep.
And we put it on there, and then it would skip, and you'd have to put the nickel or 2 nickels or a couple
quarter
to hold that down.
Yeah,
or that motherfucker was skip, and you're like, "Oh my god, my fucking $4.99 record!"
It was fucking special when I could go down and use the piece of furniture record player, but my record player in my room looked like a suitcase. You pull the record down, and the speakers on the side. You put the record on there, and you can stack a couple records. They drop down. You have to have quarters on tape quarters to the stylus so it wouldn't skip.
That was great for the old days, holding the records up there when it finished. The next one would drop on it. That was great.
And it's funny that before the cassettes became a thing, for me it was 8-track. I mean, it was for all of us. King's probably got the biggest metal fucking 8-track collection in North America.
You had that first Iron Maiden that's worth over $1,000.
Yep.
8-track.
But I remember I had my own 8-tracks. I had the Star Wars soundtrack, I had Kiss Dynasty, and I had Ace Frehley's solo album on 8-track. I would listen to those three repeatedly. I'd position the speakers. I'd lay on the floor and just listen to them. And where the program's going to shift. And even to this day, I could put the Ace Frehley record on and hear in my head where the program skips on the fucking 8-tracks.
Oh yeah, I remember that, knowing when it's going to happen.
You know what's going to happen. It's still in my head. I listened to it so many fucking times. It's still in my head.
One of the coolest things about the 8-tracks sometimes, and if you listen, there's actually an extra extended part on AC/DC, Let There Be Rock's one of them. The guitar riff at the end of Women and Children First plays longer on the 8-track because they had to make those times up to make those 4 channels kind of close to each other. So the side wouldn't end and you'd be sitting there for 7 minutes waiting to click to the next track. So that's one of the things. So everybody's right. The music sounds like shit. They're always falling in and out of sound, and the felt pieces fall off and it sounds like somebody shit on you. But fucking, they did have extra parts. Crazy Train on Blizzard of Oz plays out longer. Some of the leads on the Sabbath, even Mob Rules, when they're fading it out, they wait longer. The mixes are actually different. They're like the fade out's longer. I actually have Born Again on 8-track, Black Sabbath, and Trash, that last lead he does when it's solo and it fades out before Serving the Priest or the Stonehenge. That it plays longer. So there's some cool things to have in the 8-track too. The reason I ever collected them, as I think I said a couple of shows ago, was they were 88 cents at Woolworths when I was a kid. You could go in there and they'd have UFO, or they'd have Jethro Tull, or they'd have Nectar, or they'd have Wishbone Ash. I just bought them all because it was a $1 bill. You'd have a fucking full new thing. I'd pick some bullshit too, Van Morrison, let's try this. And, not that I hate Van Morrison, but it wasn't Van Halen,
Well, I remember the 8-track players in the vehicles. My mom and dad each had one. You had to stick the butter knife in there to get the fucking tape just to get that son of a bitch to. People think, 8-tracks were great. They fucking suck, dude. 8-tracks sucked, but whatever. It is what it is.
It got you through the time, and you held on. Or
you didn't know any different at the time. It was just what it was.
It's what you had.
Exactly.
There was no cassettes.
As a kid, you probably didn't need more than that. You probably were fucking them up anyway.
And when cassettes came out, I was all in. I'm like, cassettes rule, and I'm buying. I didn't have a ton of money. I had only so much allowance, but then until my dad upgraded to a fucking cassette deck, and it started eating my tapes. And if you're a kid and you only have so much money and you buy 1 or 2 tapes a month, your tape gets eaten. You're fucking pissed, bro. You're pissed. Like, fuck, dude.
The man's talking about his Carney Prize mirrors down there, Jeremy. I got all mine. Yep. I got mine. A couple of them broke. I had a killer rainbow long live rock and roll mirror with all the stuff. It broke when I moved here, and I had a full color Heaven and Hell. That broke. But I'm looking right now. I got Twisted Sister sticks. I got a killer Scorpions blackout right there. I got a Hellbent for leather from 78. I gave my buddy my No Mean City Nazareth Carnival mirror from back in the day. That's fun.
So did you win those, or did you buy those on eBay?
No. I won a lot of those when I was a kid, and then some of them actually one of my aunt's friends gave me a few. And then some of I literally bought, I think, a collection from a guy that was just novelty shit, and that was in there too. I think if anything on eBay with maybe one or two, but not much. I'd win them as a kid all the time. I mean, I told the story on Facebook about how I won a Kiss radio and they never gave it to me. Remember the Kiss radio?
Yeah, it's about this big. It's a piece of shit.
Metal things. You have 3 of these metal things, circles, and there's one big circle, and you have to just let them go, all 3 of them, and then if it covers the circle, you win. And I covered it, and the guy said, "No, you did," and he immediately swept the table, so I had no proof.
Cheating motherfuckers.
And I walked over, and I was 8 and 9 years old, and I was going to show the owner of that carnival how many cuss words I knew. At 9 years old, you motherfucker! I'll kick you in your nuts, you piece of shit. And the guy said, "Look, man, here's $1. Go over there and get yourself a slushie or something." At the thing, and I was like, "No, fuck you! I'll fucking kill you, motherfucker!" I was when you're mean and you're young and you're They had never got my Kiss radio, though. Still to this day, I never had one, but it was a piece of shit anyway.
Yeah, they were a piece of shit.
AM radio with Kiss. I was like, does it only play Kiss on it? And they're like, no, it's a fucking AM radio that has Kiss pictures on it.
The only metal on that radio was the antenna that came out of it. That was it. Yep.
We should have another night like that. Heavy metal, nostalgia. Talk about promo items. You start talking about stuff like the Rigor Mortis stew. Maybe people below will know that. When Rigor Mortis album came out on Capitol, they had like different things. They had a body part of an arm that said Rigor Mortis on Capitol Records. So it would just be a rubber arm. Or they had an apron with blood all over it and said Rigor Mortis on it. They also had one. It was Rigor Mortis stew, and it was a can like Denny Moore, but it had Rigor Mortis logo. There it is.
My elementary school lunchbox.
I got mine too.
And it's still dented for where I slid down my driveway. I sat on and slid down the driveway with it.
You got your thermos? Yeah, I don't have my thermos, you motherfucker.
It's all rusted on the inside. It's like, forgot wet. It would get wet from sliding down the hill in the winter. But
Let me see what I can show
John
you
here could show some crazy, memorabilia stuff.
There you go. Can you see?
What's up, John?
Back there, Marty? You were talking about the old Kiss posters.
Yep. Oh yeah.
75, but right. Where is it? Right there, the Kiss pinball machine. Is that in there? See it?
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's back there, the Kiss pinball.
You can't play the motherfucker. There's so much shit stacked on it.
Well, right now, I mean, one of the problems with those pinball machines in your house is you turn it on, everything in your house goes. It snaps. It's that 78 system, You
want to talk about memorabilia stuff? John and Sue Verica, they have so much shit. They've got Rat Skate's vest that he wore on the picture on the back of Feel the Fire. Hanging up in their fucking living room. It's fucking cool.
Yeah, they've got an amazing collection of stuff for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, good topics we will have to revisit sometime for sure.
We'll figure it out.
Indeed. Yeah. We should probably call this one to a close though, fellas.
We got it. I had a blast, man. It was fun as hell, and it was just getting back to things and reminiscing and all that good shit.
But most importantly, Children of the Morgue coming out next month. What's the release date on that again?
August 30th, Hell's Headbangers.
August 30th on Hell.
CD, vinyl around Halloween, gatefold 2 LPs.
The link is down there for pre-orders, and go over to Hell's Headbangers and go ahead and order it up.
Keep a watch. I think around the week before it comes out, there's going to be a free streaming the album thing. They're going to show on Hell's Headbangers. We're talking about that. And then a couple shows. We're going again. Playing the RPM Fest in Massachusetts on Friday, August 30th, August 31st, Book Armageddon in Brooklyn, Deceased, Nasty Savage, Blood Feast, Taunt, some other bands I can't remember right now. And then we're playing DC with our buddies Abominog on Sunday, the 1st of September, Labor Day weekend, at a place called the Songbird. And then we're off to Hawaii to not pick up the Tiki doll and play, the volcanic metal soot lava fest, whatever the fuck it's called, man. And we're gonna keep doing what we do, brother.
That's great. And really, if you're an old Deceased fan, the new album is not going to surprise you, but It's maybe their best in my opinion. And if you're never heard Deceased, this is a great place to start. What a great conglomeration of all their eras on one album. I think people are going to really stand. I mean,
that's fine. And again, thank you guys both for listening and being friends. And I totally respect your opinion. And
I'd tell you if it sucked, but it doesn't. I'm blown away.
I'm glad we didn't have to.
It isn't truly like I'd rather you hear that than it's good and move on. You know what I'm saying? That's fine.
I would say it's not for me, King, but it's like 7-star. It's not for me, King.
That's okay, because I know Alan knows. It's still hard.
All right, everybody, we've got the best chat in the fucking YouTuberverse. Thank you for joining us on another Friday night. Kingsley, you are the best. We love having you on. It's good to see you again, brother.
And that's it. That's what keeps it going when you're old. I used to drink blood and worship the devil and hang out with Carolyn Monroe, and now I'm just drinking 89-cent polar water on a Friday night.
He's got plenty of water and ate enough fiber today.
Too fast, and I'm throwing up blood to trash cans. I'm drinking too much. Times are changing, but everybody take care of yourself. Stay heavy metal. Fucking love what you love. Don't give a fuck. And anything you can do to get the price of Doritos under $5 again, which means the whole world be a little cheaper. Do it for yourself and everybody around you. Love you,
Alan,
guys,
do you have anything to end with, Alan?
No, just thanks again to everybody for hanging out, and we will see you again next week. We've got a ton of stuff coming out next week. Too much to list, so just stay tuned to Heavy Metallurgy. You'll see a lot of stuff coming very soon.
Right on. Lots of reviews coming. I've got a lot of editing to do here this weekend and next week. So,
and if anybody has any questions, I'll look at this tomorrow in the afternoon and I'll answer anything. If anybody, if I see something somebody answered and we were talking when I saw it, I'll do it later. So I didn't interrupt them more than 37 times. I did interrupt them.
It's all good, brother. And everybody, we'll see you next week. Have a great one.
Cheers.
Cheers.